Leche. Leche. Leche.
Introducing Pubcoin. Pubcoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into Pubcoins. Pubcoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Your membership to gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Pat Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! Here he goes. There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nuss Flush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Kengan. Kenny Kengan wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Kengan, Smoke and Mirrors, Director 97 home. That is way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado Custodian, Billy Friedrich, Joe's one, all coming down the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the corporate Peter Low Shack, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a Dom. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR, Pub Sports Radio, bizarre. Is a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this but they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, betting with the bag and you love it. You want a top 10, we above it.
What up, gamblers, cappers, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, November 6th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Today's going to be a little anxiety ridden. Jose Bouquet, SN1P5, is in Miami, doing it up, hanging out with Will Smith, having the time of his life. Will Smith's already slapped him in the face twice. So he's doing it up big, which means I am in control of said graphics, which is not going to be very easy, but I think that I can do it. I believe in myself. See, we're already rolling, but it's going to be tricky. So I, at times, may need someone to say, Jimmy, get the graphic up, and I will do my best. Shout out to all the cappers rocking with us. We got Stacks play today 1 and 2 here. Pig Milk play today. I'll be copying and pasting as we roll through. Frank, Virginia in the house has got to be on the Ducks tonight. We have just the man for the job. We have a incredible show. I absolutely love this show. We have Bobano here for 1 hour. We have NHL, CFL, and NFL to hammer them. Then Spooner comes on. We'll hit NFL a little bit harder, and then we have 5 games in college basketball, 3 that he's betting, 2 that I'm betting. I've only bet 1 of them. Line's moving pretty heavily against me on the other one, so I'm kind of just waiting a bit. Then we swept college football yesterday, 3-0. We have Cab for the Thursday night games, and then Nick Frazier and Cab will be joining us for the SEC schedule. That will be from 2:20 to 3 p.m. Eastern, and then I will cap that lone NBA game, and then we prepare for the roller coaster ride. That is our action every single night. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got Matty Ice. We got action coming in from Cappers in the chat. Thank you, AM, for yelling at me about the graphics. Look at all this great action coming from the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Billy Friedrich, Frank, Virginia, Matty Ice, The Goracle, Salty Pete, Nuke Worker, Bo Jackson, AJ Stogstill, Fly Parks, G in the house. We got Nasty Nate. Celtics second quarter. Celtics full game was smash and grab. 5-3 in NBA last night, plus 1.65 units. We have Martez Denny ready to go. There is Mel. Says the moment they cracked the first beer in the Caps locker room, I went to find the best number I could on the Pens for tonight. I expect to be on the Pens too, but I stopped. As soon as I was about to pull the trigger. I stopped. I actually haven't moved. I've got question marks beside all of these spots in NHL. I actually haven't moved in NHL yet, but I agree. I think Pittsburgh is the bet. I do find it difficult to back them at any time. My dude off a big day. There's Old E, Justin McKelvey, Danzo. Nice to have Danzo back in business. Top set AM, Salatzi with his action, Res Mob, Will Johnson. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's get to work. Let me just see if I can figure out exactly how this is going to look. And I do. So let's just get this up here right now, because that is our first game. And let's bring on our first guest, the star of Thursday shows here to attack NHL, CFL, and NFL. Please welcome the star of the Ice Guys, the star of the NBA OG show, and the star of the Hitting the Books YouTube channel. Please welcome our friend from Canada's Black and Yellow Steel Town, the host of the Eastern Conference CFL Final against the Montreal Alouettes, where our guest will be 5 beers deep, enjoying Canadian football in early November at home at Tiger Cat Stadium. Please welcome Ian Cameron. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. I think the weather's going to be pretty solid for early November for a CFL football game. So hopefully it's as good as it could be with the Alouettes and the Ticats in the East Final. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to breaking down these games, though, as well. Let's get to it.
Let's get right to it, Ian. Let me just make sure this is all set up here, ready to rock. It will be a little trickier running things solo, but I will just do my best to stay calm. That's all I need to do. Stay calm. Don't get anxiety riddled. Let's get to work, Ian. It was a 2-2 night. I've taken a lot of flack for fading the Canucks over and over again, but they've won in regulation 3 times this year. 3. So yes, they're 4-0 in overtime and shootouts, and I faded them on all those games, and it's cost me money. Yes. We cashed a plus 140 last night. But I screwed up. I was at the Leafs game, Ian, and it was wonderful to be there and watch the Mammoth play. It was so much fun. But I did lose the under 6.5 there. That's 9 straight games. Leafs have now gone 7 or more goals. But we also cashed the Capitals very easily. unfortunately lost with the Kraken. The Sharks maybe are just bet on in every situation, every game as we move forward. But let's focus on the task at hand. 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Ottawa Senators 6-5-2, 2-3-1 on the road at the Boston Bruins 8-7-0, 6-3-0 at home. TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. I want things to be expensive, Ian. I think it's always a sign when things are expensive. Books don't really want you betting a certain situation. They're not making it easy for you. And this line is insane. Insane. And it's moving in the direction of the Ottawa Senators, a team that's 2-3-1 on the road, missing their best player. We have Ullmark and Swayman listed. I'm not sure if they're... Let me know if I'm making mistakes with the goaltenders as we roll through.
It's Korpisalo for Boston. That's probably why it's moving.
That is why it's moving.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so that's
not a lot of betting respect for Korpisalo.
Not that Swayman has been good. 897 save percentage here. So Korpisalo is in net. Well, that does make it more appealing. The idea that a team that's won 4 straight games in the Boston Bruins, that is 6-3 at home, would be this big of a dog against the Ottawa Senators is wild. Senators have been off since suffering their second loss in 3 games, 4-3 in overtime at the Habs on Saturday. Boston without Lindholm, who's a great defenseman, but they were without him. Sorry, I'm thinking of Hampus Lindholm. They're without Elias Lindholm. Sorry, Jesus, shake my head. They're without Elias Lindholm, the top 6 forward who shouldn't be, and the Sens are again without Brady Tkachuk. That's it. So right now we have Ottawa minus 139. They opened up at minus 130. He was just sitting there, but the Korpisalo announcement has moved it 10 cents. And then from a total standpoint here, we have this 6. It's minus 110 to the over. It opened up minus 115 to the over. So interestingly enough, there's been a 5-cent move towards the under, but no movement despite the goalie change. Ottawa power play, 7th in the league. 27.1%. Can score goals even without Brady Tkachuk causing a nuisance in front of the net. Their penalty killing, though, Ian, is the worst in the National Hockey League. 32nd at 62.5%. Boston's power play isn't that bad. 22% power play. I actually thought it'd be a little worse this year, but McAvoy back, ranked 12th in the league, and their penalty killing strong as always. When do the Bruins have a weak penalty kill? 82.8%, ranked 12th. Take it away for us, Ian. Our game 1 on the board: Senators, Bruins.
Yeah, we'll start with an over by Fecta here. Ottawa, 4 straight overs entering tonight, and I think that can continue. And Boston and Ottawa, 2 straight overs head-to-head. Neither team is really excelling right now defensively. Certainly don't trust Korpisalo. So I would expect Ottawa to be able to find the back of the net. Boston should, though, too. I mean, I was very impressed with the Bruins. And what's really helped the Bruins is they put Murat Husnudinov up there on the top line. And seems like since Marco Sturm did that, Boston's really started to have some pop offensively. That line's gotten a lot of things going. So I think we're going to see goals once again with these 2 teams. So I will go over 1.5, minus 122 first period, over 6, minus 110 full game.
Okay, so sorry, first period over 1.5 at minus 122.
That's right. Yep.
And the full game over 6. And what was the vig there?
Minus 110.
I
actually got it at 5.5, minus 130 overnight, but that's gone now.
I think that the Senators should be bet here. It's expensive. I think it's expensive for a reason. They're pretty, sitting since Saturday, sitting in that loss, losers of 2 of 3. The Bruins are susceptible. The price was nuts to me. I just wanted to talk it out, and I feel like we've done that. Bobano moving on the first period over 1.5 and first period over 1.5 and the full game over 6. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. Let me make sure I got this set up right, and let's roll. Next up for us, St. Louis
Blues.
Blues.
By the way, I forgot to mention this too.
Yeah.
They are the strongest first period over team in the NHL right now. The Ottawa Senators, 9-4, and actually Boston's the second, 10-5. So a lot of trends point to goals early.
Let's get this copy and paste. We got a ton of action coming in from the chat. I love seeing everybody's plays of the day in action. I'll be copying and pasting as we go. We move on to our next spot on the board. It's a 9-game NHL slate. We have St. Louis Blues at the Buffalo Sabres. Blues 4-8-2, 2-4-0 on the road. And when we did our very first show, I told you I do not believe in this Blues team. I don't think they're as good as everybody thinks they are. And I probably haven't made enough money fading them. I know TJ fades them every single game they play. TJ's very good at finding an angle, sticking to it, hammering it, keeping everything clean, and getting paid. Sabres 5-4-4, 5-2-2 at home. We're at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. So, last night was an absolute mess. I thought the Capitals could be a powder keg type spot, but good God, they just dominated the Blues 6-1. The Blues have lost 8 of 9 games, second half of a back-to-back. And all of a sudden, there could be a coaching vacancy in St. Louis. It's amazing how fast things change in the NHL or in sports altogether. We have Hofer that we expect. Binnington played half of the game, got pulled after allowing 4 goals. Hofer came in, allowed 2 goals himself. So we're not entirely sure who's going to be in. Hofer has a 5 goals against average and 836 save percentage. If you thought Binnington's numbers were bad. Then we have Luokkanen listed here. He's supposed to be the number 1, and they got to give him the opportunity to stretch his legs and become that, despite how good Lyon or anyone else is looking in a Sabres uniform. 1-0-1, 3.33 goals against average, 875 save percentage. St. Louis power play 9th in the league at 23.1%, but their penalty killing, 3rd last in the league at 67.6%. Penalty killing is where the Sabres shine. Number 1 penalty kill in the National Hockey League at 90.9%. Buffalo power play 20th in the league at 19.1%. Let's get into the line history here, as well as the injury report. And then hand this over to Ian. A line history-wise, we have a 6.5 minus 120 to the under. This has not moved since it became available last night. From a money line standpoint here, we have the Sabres at minus 132. Not expensive. Opened up minus 125. It's moved 7 cents in their direction. I will not fade a team after being embarrassed like the Blues were, despite the fact that they've lost 8 of 9. What I'd like to do is bet them in the first period. No Jake Neighbors. I am nervous about backing them in any form, but you have to think that they come out fired up. The Buffalo Sabres are dealing with a ton of injuries. We know Josh Norris and Justin Danforth have been out for a while. Zach Benson out. Jason Zucker out. So there's 4 forwards. We knew Norris would be out, but now Kulik and Kozak, 2 centermen, are out as well. Now their defense is healthy, and maybe that's what's important. Ian Cameron, take it away. KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York, hosting the Blues Sabres.
Yeah, another over for me here, over 6 minus 120. I mean, you got 9-1 to the over between these two teams in the last 10 meetings. We've got 2 goalies we don't trust. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has not looked sharp in the couple starts we've seen him since coming back from injury. And Joel Hofer has a 5.15 goals against average and an 829 save percentage. So he has really struggled. He has really had a tough season so far. And it hasn't been made easier by the fact the Blues have not played great defensively in front of their goaltenders. So I think the over gets there. 9 of the last 10 meetings have gotten over. So over 6 minus 120 for me here with Blues Sabres. It's a tricky game because Buffalo's played well at home, but they have injuries. They have the rest advantage, though. But you want to fade St. Louis off an embarrassment. And Braden Shen kind of called them out after last night's loss, too. So that's why it's a tough side. I like the over. I'm also going to sprinkle on this draw. Buffalo has been just a ridiculous team as far as getting to overtime. I think they're on a consecutive game overtime streak. 5 straight Sabre games have gone past regulation. So this draw is worth a bet. There's actually a couple of draws I'm going to have on the card tonight.
Will there be nonstop draws every night over and over and over again? I've never seen anything like it. I know. God.
Last night was the exception. I was on a couple draws last night, and none of them came through. But this one definitely feels like it's got potential. I don't know if either team is going to gain separation. So draw here in this one, plus 330.
Draw plus 330. And what was the first period over and the full game over?
Actually, just the full game over. Okay. Just the full game over. Over 6 minus 120.
Over 6 minus 120. Well, I have to bet the Blues first period.
I don't mind it. I don't mind that. Yep.
I hate that I have to do it, but it's just
prior to last night, it was a bad first period last night. But prior to that, even when they were losing, their best period was their first period, even in the games they lost before last night.
We got Nuke Worker on the Buffalo St. Louis tied after regulation at plus 325. Slatsy going, with that over. Justin McKelvey on the over 6 at minus 125 as well. Great to see all of you guys. Oh, we got free bands play today here as well. That must be a first half? I imagine, is that Dougie Wise? Is that a free band's first half, 5.5? Get this copied and pasted. Okay, we roll on. Next up for us is the Montreal Canadiens. Oh, shoot. Here we go. I think this is beautiful. Shout out to Victor, by the way, our guy Vic, setting up the graphics so that we can have this, so it's easy for people to find the games when they rewatch it with Jose in Miami. Victor, thank you so much for doing that for us, my man. Montreal Canadiens 9-3-1, 5-2-0. They've been a great road team. At the New Jersey Devils 9-4-0, undefeated at home. They're not the only undefeated team at home that's playing this evening. We're at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Want to talk about undefeated? Talk about Jakub Dobeš, 6-0-0, 1.97 goals against average, 930 save percentage. When have we seen these numbers last in a Montreal uniform? You have to go back to Patrick Waugh. Jacob Markstrom, 3-2-0, 4.17 goals against average, 875 save percentage, and 0 shutouts. Anybody who has futures on the Devils, you better hope that he's not your goalie come playoff time. The power play for both these teams, spectacular. Montreal power play 30.8% ranked 6th. New Jersey Devils power play 31.3% ranked 4th. And the Devils also have great penalty killing. And we know what happens when there's very strong special teams. You'll win hockey games. We have AM here on the Devils money line. It says the hot scorers bet against teams scoring 4 goals in each of their past 3 games. Not necessarily wins. Fade them if they're playing on the road today. And Will Johnson says New Jersey Stanley Cup. Well, you guys better be on the trade market for a goaltender, or you won't reach it. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Montreal right now at plus 121. It's just a constant move towards the Habs. They opened up at plus 141. They're now plus 121. And who doesn't want to back the Montreal Canadiens? They go down 3-0 against the Flyers. What do? They come back right back and put up 4 goals. Now, they did lose that game in a shootout, but they're just a team that's backable probably in every situation. There's been a 5-cent move to the over 6 from minus 115 to minus 120. Habs coming off having their 3-game winning streak snapped in that 5-4 shootout loss at home to the Flyers on Tuesday. They played 3 straight games that have gone to the extra session, and there's a few teams that have done that. The Devils will return home from a tough 1-3-0 road trip. It concluded with a 4-1 loss at Anaheim on Sunday. Well, it's Thursday now, so they've had a bit of time. This isn't, you fly back, you finish on Sunday, you fly back on Monday, you play on Tuesday, and we fade you. Now it's Thursday. That was a bad road trip. This is game 1 of a 3-game homestand. If it was a great road trip, I'd be on the Habs too. And maybe I still should be on the Habs. Let's hear Ian Cameron's breakdown. Slatsy knows this team inside and out. He's under 6.5. And he's on the Devils minus 125. Look at that. Says Dobeš has been on fire, and the Devils giving up 1.80 average at home, best in the NHL. Slatsy fading his team. And who better than you to fade your team? Take it away for us, Ian. Habs, Devils.
Yeah, this is normally a bad spot for New Jersey, and it still might be, but you're right about them having a few days off. That being said, this team is now 1-3 in 4 games without Brett Pesce on the blue line. They have not looked like the same team without him. And the one win, they got outshot by the Kings, 42 to, it was a big margin. The one victory in 4 games since Brett Pesce, their best shutdown defenseman, got injured. Their one win against LA, they got outshot by double. They are not defending well without him. And say what you will about the other guys, Hughes and Hamilton. They're good, nice defensemen. They're not great shutdown guys, not compared to Brett Pesce. They miss him. They're not that same defensive team without him. I need to see more from Jacob Markstrom, who will start tonight for New Jersey. He hasn't been great since he's been back, and he got lit up in his first start. Dobeš is 6-0 on the season, so not as detrimental with the days off for a team coming home off a long West Coast road trip. But I'm still on Montreal here. They're playing great. Dobeš hasn't lost yet this year. Plus 130 on the Montreal Canadiens. And this is another draw sprinkle for me as well. We'll add this to the card at plus 330. Another plus 330 draw bet here for me in this one. Montreal consecutive games gone past regulation. I expect a close game. I don't think either team is going to pull away from the other. And I think the draw's live here as well.
You've got it. So we have the Habs at plus 130. The draw at plus 330. By the way, Slatsy's not fading his boys. That was just the VIG on the under for Slatsy.
That makes sense. The under, I think I could see that tonight in that game.
We got MMA Locker Room in the house, easily cashing Bedard over 2.5 shots on goal. Millsy running hot. Drewski says Habs moneyline. Devils can't stop anybody. Joseph Gomez says Devils kicked in the bottom mouth on the road trip. How do you lose to the Ducks? You mean the Pacific Division leading Anaheim Ducks?
Don't say that anymore. Anaheim's good.
They're great.
Anaheim's good.
We have them to make the playoffs. We have their win total. They're
People
not
saying Anaheim's not, what are you doing losing to Anaheim? You're not watching the games well enough.
Shout out to the biggest jewel in the house, ready to get to work. We have Bobano moving on the Habs and the draw. We have AM heavily on the other side. It's a tricky spot. By the way, as Bobano was talking about the injury to Pesce that's hurt so much, we have our guy, Billy Friedrich, saying the Hurricanes missed Pesce. That was an awful front office decision. And a bunch of forwards out. Dodonov, Cody Glass, Zach McEwen out for the Devils, as well as Pesce.
No.
Let's roll on. I have interest in the Habs, but I'm a little nervous. I mean, very, very quickly, the leadership in this Devils room. I mean, that's what you look for. You look for character and leadership if you were going to back a team after a rough road trip. Do you believe this team has that in spades? Is this a team with leadership that's going to come back? And I know you're on the Habs, but just talk to me about the mental.
I'm not totally sure about that. I think Nico's a good player. I don't look at him as just this pull his teammates into the fight type of captain. I just don't. And Jack Hughes, forget it. You're not going to get inspiration from that guy. He's an incredible player, phenomenal. I just don't think he's a guy wired to be like, rah and get the boys all fired up and amped up, when you're struggling a bit. So I do question, how great that dressing room leadership is a little bit. I do.
AM's got 2 systems rolling on the Devils. We roll on. Next up for us, the Minnesota Wild, 5-6-3, 2-3-1 on the road. Carolina Hurricanes, 8-4-0, 3-1-0 at home. Obviously, I like talking about things I've been right about in the National Hockey League. One thing I've been wrong about were the Minnesota Wild. I was pretty high on them, very high on them coming into the year. Now, maybe things can change. We're in the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. Is it going to be Philip Gustafson? Because this is the first of a back-to-back. They play at the Islanders tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is. It's Gustafson. Yep.
It is. It's probably the right time for Wallstead. My guess is that they think, so they just finished a 6-game homestand where they lost the first 4 games of it. So they have 2 wins. They beat 2 weak hockey teams. They beat Vancouver 5-2 on Saturday. They finished off with a 3-2 overtime win over Nashville on Tuesday. So my guess is they just want a streak. They know they need to win now. So they're using Gustafson, who hasn't been great, 3.11 goals against average, 900 save percentage. Hurricanes coming off a 3-0 win at the Rangers on Tuesday in Kochekov's first game of the season. And it looks like K'Andre Miller will be back here. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, we'll be back here. But that's not being confirmed by anybody, but he's supposed to be coming back. Do you think he's back in the lineup here?
I think he will be. He's been activated off IR. Don't think they would do that unless they planned on playing him tonight.
But that is crucial because Slavin and Ghost have both been out. William Carrier, Eric Robinson out as forwards. But that is absolutely crucial. We were fading them for the first time. It's the first time I ever faded them at home, and I can't tell you when. At least 3 or 4 years when we took the Knights to take them out, and they won 6-3 here. So they're getting a key defenseman back. Let's take a look at this line history here for this one. The Minnesota Wild, by the way, their injury report here has not changed. Zuccarello's been out all year. Bogosian, Nico Sturm, these guys have been out. So they're pretty comfortable with that situation. We have this total at 6. It's minus 122 to the over. Has not moved since it became available. And then on the money line here, we have Minnesota plus 168, a number that would just be insane to me if you against any team in the National Hockey League. But this is not any team in the National Hockey League, and Minnesota is playing poorly. Ian Cameron, take it away. Wild Hurricanes.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do too much with this game. I mean, I look at it. Carolina is coming back from the road trip. Where they play, it's a brief one, though, only a couple games against Boston and the Rangers. They shut out the Rangers. Shows you how bad the Rangers have it going offensively, or not going offensively at home right now, that a banged up Carolina blue line rolls into Madison Square Garden and puts a goose egg on the board against them. So that tells you all I need to know about the Rangers' offensive issues. Here we are with this situation as far as the this game tonight. Minnesota, I don't know if they're back. because, Vancouver is obviously not much of an impressive win, and Nashville neither is that, and they needed overtime to win that game 3-2 after coughing up the lead late in that game. So I need to see more from Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's actually played Carolina quite well, actually. 6-4 in the last 10 meetings. 3 out of the last 4, Minnesota has beaten Carolina. So for some reason, Minnesota's kind of been a thorn in Carolina's side here, but will that continue tonight? I'm not so sure. Miller being back, obviously, big plus for the banged up and depleted and shorthanded Carolina blue line. Carolina, not in this spot. Do I love them? I actually think, I lean Minnesota, but I don't know if I trust them enough to beat. They got to beat a good team before I'm ready to do that. So pass for me.
It's certainly an appealing number here as well.
Maybe I sprinkle on it, but it's not official play worthy.
It's such a monstrous number. It just feels like they're really begging you to back the Wild here. No action for us in that game, but it's just a shocking number. Let's move on to our next spot on the board. And
let's not forget how damn good a home team they are, Carolina, as well.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. They're very strong at home. Our next spot on the board, we have reached Stacks play of the day, number 1, and it's the over 6 at -125. This is the first ever NHL Stacks for our guy Justin McKelvey. Shout out to Justin.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
So I know what it was, because at one point there was 2 bets I was just going to send in before the show started, and then I had a difficult time, and I don't know. It's probably not as horrific as it looks, but Rutger McGroarty has been out for a while. Ricard Raquel, they lost, and he can really help that first line. Kevin Hayes has been out for most of the years, no problem. Noel Achari out. Justin Brazeau out. Then you have Philip Hollander who's tried to come in and help, and he's day-to-day. So it was just the injury report. But I want to fade Charlie Lindgren. I want to fade him, 3.46 goals against average, 880 save percentage. I want to fade the Capitals, after they destroy the Blues 6-1 and Ovi scores his 900th goal. The win snapped a 4-game losing streak. This is also game 1 of a 4-game road trip. The Penguins concluded a 1-2-1 road trip with a 4-3 loss at the Leafs on Monday, and they were up 3-0 heading into the third period. So, I guess I have to bet Pittsburgh. I have to. Who cares about the injury report? I guess Pittsburgh is a must bet. We talked about backing them early in the season, and this is exactly that time to back them. Take it away, Ian. Capitals Penguins.
I'm struggling with it too, because I do think it sets up very nicely for Pittsburgh. My one concern, though, is the fact that they're off that road trip. This is a pretty lengthy one, and they're also a very banged up group right now. When you look at Achari, Philip Hollander, Justin Brazeau, Tristan Jarry's now on IR, Ricard Raquel's on IR. I mean, it's a depleted team. It is. So they're struggling right now. They finally hit their first slump, and they're coming home off a long road trip. Not exactly the biggest bet on spot for Pittsburgh, but it's a huge fade spot for Washington. I mean, Washington, I think, kind of indulged themselves again with the Ovechkin heroics last night, number 900. I think they kind of celebrated that more than just your average, regular season moment. Now they're on a back-to-back. That is absolutely not a spot I want any part of Washington. It's just, do I trust Pittsburgh enough? Are they healthy enough? And is this a good enough spot coming off a road trip where normally I don't want to back teams? So it's very, very tricky. It's very tricky. I kind of want to take Pittsburgh here, but
it's not like
here's the thing. Washington was struggling. They finally won last night. They may want to get a little momentum and going. It's what good is it? You have this great win to snap a little skid, and you give it back tonight here in this game against Pittsburgh. However, Lindgren hasn't looked sharp here in the early going. So it's Pittsburgh or nothing. I'm hemming and hawing about backing the Penguins, and as of yet, I still have not.
Yeah, I get it. And it's their special teams. Second ranked power play at 32.4%, a 10th ranked penalty kill at 83.3%. We knew when Carlson moved over from the Sharks that their power play would be elite, and they were horrific that first year. If you remember, they were bottom 5 in the NHL all year long on the power play. They figured it out, of course, with the leadership of the kid, Sid. So I agree that in the Washington, look at Washington's special teams, 23rd ranked power play, 20th ranked penalty kill. I'm still interested in Pittsburgh. Now, I remember exactly what happened. So I looked at the Pittsburgh injury report, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll still bet the Flyers. And I was like, look at this market move against the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, that's okay. Like, you can bet into these market moves, but you have to have conviction. That's all. When you see the Flyers open up a minus 107 and now sit at plus 110, you have to explain why the move is being made and ensure that you have the conviction to then fire on it. So, one last thing about the Pens Capitals is I used to love betting overs. I used to love betting unders when these two teams play each other. And the first period under would go under almost every time. And I'd been sitting there halfway through the game. It's 1-0, 1-1. And then there would be explosions. I believe that I have a negative ROI to the extent where I had to stop betting the unders when, Ovi and Sid the Kid played. Here we are with a 5.5 in Philadelphia, Nashville. It's opened up minus 106 to the over. It opened up minus 110 to the under. This got to minus 118 to the under, and then it came back. So there was a 5.5, and it got bet to the under, but it came back. We have the Flyers as a dog here against a weak Predator team. Now we have Alexei Kolosov listed, who looked great in one game. Is that who you expect between the pipes for the Philadelphia Flyers?
I believe it could still be. It is Vladar. No, Dan Vladar is confirmed. Dan Vladar.
Vladar is confirmed. DC Capper in the house, and the spreadsheet play today is Vegas. That's another spot I'm very interested from our guy Ron Crawford in the house. Vipe is on Carolina and Dallas on the -1 line. Let's get this all copied and pasted. So Vladar is in. Vladar is in. Philadelphia going up against UC Saros, a goaltender that I only like because he's the smallest goaltender in the National Hockey League. I learned that, and at that point I started fading him because I only liked him because he's so small, and stupid. Philadelphia power play 14th, 20.9%, but the 6th ranked penalty kill at 87%. The Predators have not been scoring on the power play. Yossi was supposed to be a big part of that power play, and it looks like he's just getting long on the tooth and can't handle the rigors of being an NHLer. Cole Smith out, as well as Adam Wilsby. So 2 defensemen out for Nashville, and the Philadelphia Flyers here sitting with a pretty tough injury report, but it's not bad. Forster and Sampson is the issue. It's not Ristolainen, and he's been out all year as well. And Urson's been out for a while. Flyers snapped their 2-game losing streak with their 5-4 shootout win at Montreal on Tuesday. The Predators coming off their 2nd straight overtime loss, their 5th loss in 6 games, 3-2 at Minnesota on Tuesday, and it's their 3rd game in 4 nights. Why is this moving towards Nashville? Take it away, Ian.
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing because I want to back the Flyers now at this point, especially with Vladar in net. Vladar's been solid this year for the Flyers. Now, last couple games he's given up 4, but they beat Montreal in spite of that. His overall numbers are still solid, 5-3 this season, with a solid goals against average as well on the year and save percentage. And Nashville to me is just, I said this on the Ice Guys the other day, and I know it was when they were playing Vancouver last week, and I only dabbled in Vancouver, but I said every time Nashville is favored, I'm interested going against them. Because that's how little I think of this team, that they really should not be favored against hardly anybody in the National Hockey League. With how weak this team is, how without Roman Josi, that defense suffers dramatically. So I'm interested in the Flyers here. I'm just trying to see how the Flyers done in Nashville in the past. Well, the last time they played in Nashville, they won in overtime 3-2. Then they lost in overtime 3-2 in Nashville the year before. And then the year before that, they won in Nashville 3-1. So they've won 2 of the last 3 here in Nashville, this Philadelphia Flyer. I'm going to make it official, Jimmy. I'm taking Philly here. I don't agree with this move. I don't mind going against moves, as you know. And plus Philadelphia, I think with them, they're not going to be thrilled with having that lead against Montreal. You think Rick Tockett's going to be happy, even though they won that game, that they had a 3-0 lead, blew it? And even though they came back and won, he's not going to be happy they blew that 3-0 lead and let Montreal take the lead back. So I think Philadelphia comes in here with something to prove. And right now I like their form better. So plus 116 is the best price with Philly. I will take that. And this is another draw for sure. I'm definitely not passing up this draw. Philadelphia has been in a lot of close games, a lot of overtime games. I just mentioned how the 2 of the last 3 meetings in Nashville have gone past regulation for the Flyers versus the Predators. So plus 320 on the draw.
Plus 320 here on the draw between Flyers, Predators. I mean, I certainly could come up with a conviction to join you. I'm just shocked. It's like seeing a car crash. It makes no sense. I
hear you.
I need to get over it. I go over all of these notes and everybody's action after the show and then add action. I get it. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. 8 p.m. Eastern. Anaheim Ducks is our next. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Anaheim Ducks, 8-3-1, 4-2-1 on the road. Dallas Stars, 7-3-3. It feels like they've been losing hockey games. And then you look at their record like, wait a minute. 4-2-1 at home. We're at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. I've got Lucas Dostal listed. Now, Ottinger has been banged up. He's listed. Do you think Ottinger is playing? DeSmith played 2 games in a row.
Well, he's not. It was actually away for his wife giving birth. So that's why he was away.
Okay.
It's a personal matter. So he's back and he's starting tonight. Yeah.
5-2-2, 2.53 goals against average, 913 save percentage, 1 shutout. Dallas 5th ranked power play at 31.1%, 25th ranked penalty kill. They have been dealing with injuries. I went over all of their injuries this morning, and there's no sign that Duchesne or Hintz is coming back.
No,
we have not. There's not any reason for us to believe that they are. They've been at home, so it's not like they're back home and these guys are going to come back now. So Rupi Hintz, Radek Faksa, Matt Duchesne are all not on IR and not like, well, I don't know about Faksa, but Duchesne and Hintz, there's just no idea that they'll be back.
They're down 3 of their 4 centers, and I credit them for gutting it out against Edmonton. That was so impressive with all those injuries. They got 5 forwards out, 3 centers.
It was another shootout loss for me that just made me want to throw something. The Ducks coming off sweeping their 3-game homestand. A very impressive 7-3 victory over Florida on Tuesday. 4 straight win. Second time they've beaten the 2-time defending champions in a week. Dallas has played, we talked about earlier, 3 straight games that have gone to the extra session. And they finally won one. They lost the first 2, and they win 4-3 at home over the Oilers on Tuesday. There have been so many situations where I've been nervous to bet Anaheim. And it's been ridiculous. They keep winning. I was nervous to bet them against Florida because they'd already beaten them once, and they smash them again. Here I'm nervous after sweeping a homestand, going out on the road. Yep. They opened up at plus 166. They're now plus 153. This line, doesn't make sense with the way this hockey team is playing. And when we get to the total, we have a 6. It's minus 125 to the over. Open up minus 115 to the over. I've left so much money on the table thinking the Ducks are in a bad spot when they've been able to battle through bad spots. Take it away, Ian.
Yeah, you know what? I'm on Anaheim here. Quack, 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 quack. We're on the Anaheim Ducks here in this game. I've been on them a bunch on this show, just off the top of my head. We're getting plus 160 let me see. Is that I thought there was maybe one spot where there was more than that. No, best price is plus 160. So we'll go with that. Anaheim's won 2 of 3 against Dallas the last 3 meetings. They've won 2 of them. And that was an Anaheim team that is just not, wasn't as good as this year's team. And here's the thing with this Dallas Stars team. They've sometimes, it hasn't been easy to win games. Let's call it like we see it. And the injuries have mattered. They have not won any of their games comfortably. They have not won any of their games easily. If this price wasn't as expensive, I'd probably look at Anaheim plus 1.5 just to be safe, but it's a little too pricey. I'll take my shot for the outright win. But look at these Dallas wins: 3-2 against Carolina, 3-2 against Nashville, 1-0 against Washington, 4-3 in a shootout against Edmonton. They're not winning games very easily, comfortably. They're decimated up front. No Hintz, no Duchesne, no Faksa. 3 of their top 4 centers out, 5 forwards out overall. Jake Ottinger is back from his leave with his wife giving birth, so he is a new father. Maybe there's a new dad bump. He plays well. But Anaheim's really rolling right now. Dostal has been excellent in net, and they have confidence they can hang with Dallas because they've beaten them 2 of the last 3. So I like Anaheim. The price is just too good not to bet it, in my opinion here. And plus, they've shown they can beat good teams on the road. They beat Florida on the road on their most recent road trip. So I think it's too good a price to pass on. Anaheim plus 160. And this is another draw for me. Plus 360 here, draw with Anaheim and Dallas. Dallas has gone to overtime or a shootout now in 3 straight games. And you look at head-to-head. Last year in Dallas when these teams played, it was an overtime game. So this is another one with draw potential.
I get it. 3 straight here. I completely get it. I get back in the Ducks at this price. I just feel like I'm just stuck in the headlights here. Not, feeling like now that I've not been backing the Ducks in bad spots.
See, I was on Anaheim with a small money line and team total against Florida, and I've been on Anaheim a shit ton of times already this year. It's a different in my shoes. Yeah,
definitely. Because now I could be late to the party and early to the funeral, which that bothers me worse than a regular loss. Let's move on. Next up here, and if you are listening on headphones, turn it down a little bit because we've reached Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day, and it is your Vegas Golden Knights. Akira Schmid has looked very good. 908 save percentage. So it's not like he's, there's a very good team in front of him. Vasilevsky on the other side, 2.67 goals against average, 900 save percentage. Now just Nick Paul out, and he's been out for a lot of the year, and he could be returning soon, probably when they come back to Tampa. For Vegas here, Stone out and Aiden Hill out. Schmid knowing he's getting the run. Drewski says lightning strikes. AM says Golden Knights money line. The snapped winning streak bet against a team whose winning streak of length 3+ was just snapped in the previous game. Make the bet only if the team you are betting has a money line that's better than minus 150. A Tampa Bay power play 28th in the league, and it's a shock. Absolute shock. And at this point in the year, and I know we're only at 13 games, but it doesn't turn around quickly. We see teams that have a ton of talent and they're not clicking on the power play, and you keep asking all year long. So I'm not. After 13, I used to think this would change. Now I don't. 4th ranked penalty kill in the National Hockey League, 88.6%. Vegas power play 8th in the league at 25%. Penalty killing 15th at 81.3%. Let's get into the line history here for our second to last game on the board in the National Hockey League. We have a flat 6. It's not flat everywhere. A lot of books are juiced to the under, not where we used to play poker. Now, it opened up minus 115 to the over, so there has been a 7-cent move to the under, but it's a flat pick 'em there on the total at 6. And then we have Vegas at minus 118. They opened up at minus 125, got up to minus 130. There was a move 37 minutes ago, a 8-cent move or 7-cent move towards Tampa, 8-cent move away from Vegas. Lightning coming off having their 5-game winning streak snapped in a 3-2 loss at Colorado on Tuesday night. This is the final game of their road trip, 3-game road trip. And this is not, let's go have some fun in Vegas. They fly home tomorrow and host the Capitals on Saturday night. That's tough. That's generally the spot where we fade. So if the Capitals lose badly to Pittsburgh, it's probably likely that we'd want them Saturday night against a tired Lightning team. This is a great spot for Vegas. Game 3 of a 6-game homestand. My favorite is game 5 of a 6-game homestand, but this is game 3 of a 6-game homestand. Open with the 4-2 loss versus the Avalanche. Then they beat the Wings 1-0 on Tuesday. So they don't feel like they're right. Their offense isn't right now. This is going to be an incredible hockey game. Ian Cameron, take it away. I think you're muted, my man.
I think, it's a great game. I think we can make cases for both sides. I don't know if Vegas is going to be thrilled with their performance, even though they beat Detroit 1-0. I'm sure they're going to want to maybe score a few more goals than that, although John Gibson was very good. Tampa was rolling 5 games in a row, but they fell to Colorado to have that win streak snap the other night. I knew AM was going to be on Vegas because I know very well about his 3-game losing streak, 3+ game win streak snap angle. And if it fits the right price parameters, it means fade them in that spot off a 3-game or more win streak getting snapped. I'm off the side. I think it's a tricky one. Vegas is in revenge for what it's worth. 2-1 loss to Tampa in Tampa just recently. Not that that's the be-all, end-all for betting Vegas here, but something to consider. My bet here on this game is just very simple. Vegas, we know, one of the strongest first period over teams, especially at home. You've got a Vegas team off a 1-goal showing against Detroit. I think their zone is to get their offense going a bit. You got Tampa off a loss to Colorado. They only scored 2 goals. I think the offense, they're going to focus on, got to generate a little bit more here in this game tonight against the Golden Knights. So first period over I like. And how about 9-1 to the first period over in the last 10 head-to-head meetings between the Lightning and the Golden Knights? 9 of the last 10 between these teams has cashed the first period over. So that's the look here. I'm focusing in on that first period. Over 1.5, minus 116.
You are in business. I'm close to the Knights. I'm curious to see what happens with this market. I was on the Avalanche. Of course, I was on the -1, so I pushed it when Lightning played the Avs. Let's roll on to our final spot here in NHL. Florida Panthers 6-6-1, 1-5-0 on the road. The LA Kings 6-4-4, 1-3-2 at home. Crypto.com arena in Los Angeles, California. This is a funny spot because I've switched. And generally when I switch, if I don't have conviction, I stay off. Initially, I wanted to back the Kings. And I still sort of do. But the longer I capped it, the more I started thinking, God, the Panthers, opened up this 4-game Western trip with that 7-3 loss to Anaheim on Tuesday. The Kings are, so they need, they're embarrassed, sitting there angry. The Kings are on the final game of a 4-game homestand. They start a 6-game road trip at Pittsburgh on Sunday. If they started that trip on Saturday, I'd be on Florida for sure. But they do have that one day to kind of, they're not, they can be completely focused on the situation, wake up in their own bed and stay, they finally got their first home win of the season, 3-0 over Winnipeg on Tuesday. So, Florida got to be sitting angry right now. You would think this is a team that's still dealing with, Kulikov out, Nosek out, of course, Barkov and Kachuk, but we know that, and Gadjevich out as well. And then the LA Kings are healthy again. There's just Warren Fogle that's out. He could be coming back here soon. So take a look at this line history and hear Bobano's plan of attack. We have it moving very slightly towards Florida. Florida opened up at plus 102. They're now minus 101. So basically no movement. And when we get to the total here for this one, we have a 5.5 minus 120 to the under. That's what it opened at 1:30 p.m. yesterday, and it's not moved a single cent. Ian Cameron, take it away.
I cannot believe Florida's off the loss that they are to Anaheim, that I am so down on LA this season that they only got their first home win of the season the other night in that victory against Winnipeg. The price being what it is, and yet I am still very hesitant to take Florida. And I feel like, I should be slamming Florida here because of my disdain for the Kings. I still think the Panthers are, they get everybody back. They're still dangerous in my opinion. But right now, things look out of whack for them. Things look really troubling. Things look really out of sorts. And so it's not a rush to the betting window to take Florida here when I thought for sure that was initially going to be my luck. Not to mention what Slatsy's pointed out. Kings have actually beaten the Panthers 5 straight times here in LA at home. So the Kings have actually, it's been a while since Florida's won here in LA, a very long time. Maybe, LA getting that home win gets them, in a good frame of mind. Again, they're going on the road after this. So to get 2 home wins to end the homestand would be nice, especially after getting your first home win. I could only look at Florida here. It's the champion pedigree team off, getting truly embarrassed, especially in the third period by Anaheim. And if it's Bobrovsky, he was not sharp, and he bears some of the blame. He's going to look to bounce back. It's absolutely Florida or pass, but I don't know. They have not had any success in LA. There's something clearly off with the team right now. Combination of chemistry's off. Injuries have played a role. They're not defending anywhere close to the level that the Florida Panthers normally defend with. And let's not forget about the fact that this team on the road this year is 1-5. They've had a real tough time playing away from home so far this season. So I should want Florida. I lean Florida, but I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger.
I know exactly how you're feeling. This was a trickier card than I thought at first glance or first study. Let's review action. Stacks play day number 1. Pittsburgh Penguins Capitals over 6 at -125. We have Danzo Ottawa first. Boston to score first +135. We have action coming in from the chat, but let's just go over Ian's action here. First period over 1.5, full game over 6 in Ottawa, Boston. I think I'm going to be moving on Ottawa. Bobano's on the over 6 and the draw in Blues Sabres. I will be on the Blues first period. Bobano on the Habs at +130 and the draw at +330. We heard Slatsy on the under 6.5. I'm still stuck with that one. I'm stuck with this wild Carolina, and I guess I stay off of it. I wanted Pittsburgh. I may get there, but I mean, I understand the trepidation that Ian had. I feel the same. Ian was not afraid to go up against this market move against the Flyers that really blatantly doesn't make sense.
I'm actually going to get involved with Florida, but in a different way. And this is an Alex B. Smith special, my great friend and colleague on the Ice Guys show. And he's a proponent of this bet often. And I just went back and looked quickly while you were talking. Florida, their last 3 losses, they've scored the first goal of the game and in the first period. That could be the best approach. Because you got to think first 20 minutes, this team's ready after getting bombed by the Anaheim Ducks in that game the other night. And the last few losses, they have gotten on the board in the first period, and it's been getting the first goal of the game. So I'm going to see where I can find it here, first period, because FanDuel offers this. First goal of first period. It's a first period team to score first goal. Yeah, Florida +135 at FanDuel. This is Florida first goal of the first period. Florida +135. That to me is the way to go.
Makes sense off of 7-3 loss. You've just been sitting around getting angrier about it. Flyers end the draw in Philadelphia, Nashville for Ian. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play today is the Vegas Golden Knights. Viper on Carolina -1, Dallas -1. Bobano on the Ducks money line and the draw. I expect to get on the Knights. Again, this market move against them, I would like them to be a bigger favorite here. Bobano on that first period over 1.5 -116, and he's on Florida first goal in the first period at +135, which takes us to the Canadian Football League. We're going to be very quick here. We're not doing a full cap. Bobano will be live at Hamilton Stadium in Hamilton, Ontario for this. I have, and I push so many of you guys to join us on the Alouettes to win the Grey Cup at +550. All they have to do is beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats here. Now, the market really respecting the Hamilton Tiger Cats, more so than I would have guessed. Now, the line is moved very slightly towards Montreal. We'll take a quick look at that. And not slightly anymore. Wow, okay, so we've moved to the full 3. This opened up with Hamilton +1.5. That was a shock. It moved to 2.5. Even that, I saw their books at 2. They moved to 2.5, and now we have a 3. So I think that's probably what it should have opened up at. This total is a 52.5. It's moved 5 cents to the over. We'll do the full breakdown with the Gorkle tomorrow, but take it away, Alouettes, Tiger Cats.
Well, you and I both have the futures, obviously, on Montreal, but I'm going to make them official here for the individual game here in the East. As a fan, I hope I'm wrong, but I'm not going to go into too much because we're tight for time. But I've talked to you about Hamilton. I think is a bit of a paper tiger, porcelain doll division champion. I'll say it. And they got a chance to, now that they beat Montreal and look impressive and prove me wrong. Okay. But they feasted on Toronto and Ottawa and Edmonton all year. And when they beat Winnipeg, it was with Chris Drevler, not Zach Collaros. When they beat Montreal, it was with Bethel Thompson and James Morgan. It was not with Davis Alexander. They got swept by Saskatchewan. They got swept by Calgary. They split with BC. And even then, they were fortunate to do that. They could have easily went 0-2. So to me, they have feasted on non-playoff teams, weak teams, and backup quarterbacks with the good teams for their victories this year. That's a problem to me. And Montreal's peaking at the right time. I think Montreal will get the job done here in this game. I will go with Montreal here, -148. Money line is the best money line price out there. It's moved a bit. There is still over 52.5, -110 with the total. I will go with that as well. Weather's going to be fine here on Saturday. It looks like the weather's going to be great, and I think that we're going to end up having some points in this game. The one thing I'll say about Montreal's defense, I like Montreal's defense more than Hamilton's, but Winnipeg was moving the ball against them a good chunk. And to me, Montreal is one of these teams where they give up yards, they give up big plays, but they turn you over, and that's what keeps the points down. They got to hope for turnovers here because I think Hamilton can still move the ball on them. So I think a lot of points, and Montreal gets the job done. I think they come up with the 1 or 2 extra stops that Hamilton doesn't.
Oh, you got it. You are in business. Alouettes minus 148.
What are you going to do? Go against a quarterback that's 12-0 as a starting quarterback now? Davis Allen, just incredible.
Gorky is on the Hamilton Ticats, so it'll be fun to hear that breakdown. We can get a minus 2.5, minus 120 for the new
man
quarter.
in me is happy about that, Gorky. So good luck.
Yeah, no, it's nice. You know, it makes it more fun. You don't want everyone agreeing. I'm not going to bet on the game individually with the 550 hanging in the balance. I'm just going to sit back and hope that.
No, totally. And you've got the future is like an official bet on your record for the show. For me, it's not. So that's why I'm betting it individually for the show.
I hear that for sure. Yeah. For sure. Let's roll into the next spot on the board. Now, I screwed up here. I was trying to figure out exactly how much I was going to invest because I'm pretty bullish about Rourke and the Lions. And while I was hemming and hawing, the line moved more towards the line. So I had to take a minus 122 on the plus 3.5. So I did put a unit and a half. Now I only have half of what I have on the Alouettes to win. So on the Lions at plus 360. And Bobano, I was right. Remember when I told you the plus 160 to win the Grey Cup, to reach the Grey Cup for the Lions? Well, they won a game, and sure enough, what's the first thing you see? Plus 165 on the money line to beat the Rough Riders. There was no need to make that bet and put anything at risk, so that all worked out here. Let's take a look at the line history and hand it over to Bobano quickly here. We have a 53.5 total. It is not moved. On the point spread here, we have the Rough Riders now a minus 3. They opened up at 3.5 minus 110, went to 3.5 minus 105, and now they're a 3 and minus 105. Now even BC plus 3 is juiced. Wow. So here we go. If it's a Lions Alouettes Grey Cup and I can just sit back and count money, it'd be really wonderful. But it's not an easy place to play. Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan. Ian Cameron, take it away.
Yeah, there's going to be potential for flurries. Pretty cold. It's going to be colder in Saskatchewan than it's going to be in Hamilton from the looks of things, and maybe a greater chance of wind. And I don't for Saskatchewan, but I don't think the wind's going to be brutal from what I'm seeing here early in the week. Not enough to me to impact, being able to throw the football, which is important for both teams really, but especially for Nathan Rourke and what he can throw at you here going into this game. So I'm just going to see now with the because I've already placed this bet here, and I'm going to definitely go ahead with it for the show.
Just a heads up, the latest report has almost no wind.
Oh, even better.
And no snow. So it's beautiful weather, but cold.
Oh, wow. It's changed that since even just yesterday morning. I looked at it and it said 40% chance of flurries, and it did just say flurries, not heavy snow, but and now no wind. Okay, that's great because I'm going to go with over 24.5 team total, but BC. That's what I'm going to go with. Over 24.5 minus 110. BC Lions team total over. I don't mind the plus 3.5, but with the Lions defense, I'm still a little bit leery of it against Trevor Harris and a Riders offense that might have everybody back at receiver. It sounds like Keyshawn Johnson may play. Dante Myers, who didn't play down the stretch, might be back. Emelis, we saw what Robistelli did for them down the stretch. Tommy Neal. I mean, that's a really good receiving core. The BC defense, it still gave up 30 points to Vernon Adams last week. So I feel like I just want to back the offense because I've still got some questions about that Lions defense. And the offense, I think, will move the football here. Keep in mind, BC, I think, with the Rourke starts against Saskatchewan, they scored 27 or more in both of them. And you go back and look at every Nathan Rourke game that he started for BC since, mid to late July. It's absolutely insane that they have gotten over 24 and I would say almost every game. 33 in the playoff win last week at the division semi, 27, 37, 38, 27, 52, 38, 33, 34, 36, 41, 33, 27, 32. The last time this team, BC, did not go over 24.5 points in a game was at Montreal, July the 5th, in a 21-20 win. That's the last time the BC Lions did not exceed this team total. So I'm on it. Over 24.5 minus 115. Or minus 110, sorry.
Yeah, you got it. You are in business here. Lions team total over 24.5 minus 110. Then we get into our big Thursday night football live stream right here on Pub Sports Radio. We're going to do the full breakdown with Spooner right after this. So we just want to hear Ian Cameron's breakdown. Raiders, Broncos. I'll do the full line history and all of that after this. Let's just hear how Bobano is planning on getting paid. You've been incredible in Thursday nights and continued through the preseason and Thursday night football. You've also been incredible on NFL Pub Up. He's ranked number 1 out of 32 cappers in NFL Pub Up, but also the Thursday nights here, you've been magic. Take it away.
Yeah, this one, it's been such a great run on these Thursdays. This is not, I would say this is not an overly strong bet for me. There's been other bets, but I don't want to pass with the run we're on. And I think this is still a good way to go in this game. That's the Denver Broncos over 26.5 team total. Minus 110. I will lock that in. I don't trust the Raiders on a short week. A Raiders team that of a crippling, demoralizing loss to Jacksonville, sellers at the deadline this past week. It just feels like Denver. And Denver's not happy about their offensive showing against Houston, nor should they be. They struggle to move the football. Bo Nix and the Broncos have only been a fourth quarter offense these last few games. Houston, it took them to the fourth quarter to get things going. The Giant game, nothing in the first 3 quarters, and then, of course, the big comeback. The only game they really had a good start to finish offensive performance was Dallas when they shredded a horrible Cowboy defense. But that's what this feels to me, Jimmy, like this Las Vegas opponent tonight at home could be like the Dallas game where Denver just goes up and down the field, and the Cincinnati game where they hung a big number on a Monday night against that Bengals defense. I mean, the Raiders just don't have a lot going for them right now. And now on a short week, another brutal loss. They trade away their top target, Jacoby Myers, of course, in the this past week. So I think it sets up well for Denver to get to that 27, 28 points they need for this team total. So over 26.5 minus 110, Denver Broncos team total.
You are in business, Bobano. Keep up the spectacular work, my friend. Broncos team total over 26.5. We'll do the full breakdown of that game now, but thank you for giving us your action as you've been running so hot. Ian Cameron, star of The Ice Guys, the NBA OG show, and, of course, Hitting the Books YouTube channel. Tell us what's going on with all 3 right now, Ian, my man.
Yeah, just Ice Guys 7 days a week. Me and Alex B. Smith, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. Hitting the Books, Connor Mack and yours truly. Members only shows. We thank everyone that's become a member of the channel. We thank you so much for that. Wednesdays and Fridays, we do members only shows. We do college football, of course, Hitting the Books, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific every Monday. We're doing a weekly college basketball version of Hitting the Books as well, Tuesday or Thursday, one of the 2 days each week. And then we'll add more shows once football is over. So make sure you check that out. NBA OG Crew Betting Show with me, Ski Profit, Dutch, and Wham, 5 days a week as well. Not today, though, with only one NBA game, but we will be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Jimmy, good luck. Everyone in the chat, good luck. And we'll see you again next week.
See you next week, my man. There he is, Ian Cameron. We lose Ian Cameron, but we replace him with another great capper. I haven't done the records from last week, but Ian was number 1 in NFL Pub Up, and your next guest was number 2 out of 32. Capper, star of Walk-Off Wagers right here on Pub Sports Radio. Also one of the stars of the Sauce Network, our guy Morgan Spooner in the house. Spoon Dog, what's happening, man? How are you?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. Coming off a good night in NCAA basketball. Doubled up on a couple of games yesterday. Hit them both. Absolute sweat to end the second one. But excited for some more basketball, some more NFL football. I think it's going to be a great night.
I do as well. Let's set this one up. We are at Empower Field at Mile High in Denver, Colorado. Beautiful weather tonight. Non-issue, warm, not much wind. So we are going to be dealing with weather. It starts at Lambeau on Monday night. That's our first really cold game of the year. But we're getting into that time of year where we're going to be dealing with weather. I found this game. I felt that it was pretty easy for me to find my angle. And it's not one that I'm usually on either. Also, we have the Pig Milk play of the day in this one. It is your Denver Broncos. -9 is sweet, sweet Pig Milk from our friend Billy Frazier. Let's roll. Robert Cherry, great to see you, my man. Stacks play of the day number 2 is the Raiders Broncos over 43 at -109.
Stacks, 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 stacks.
Let's get into it here. We'll start with the line history. We have Troy Torrance, who is running hotter than anyone I've ever seen in NFL over a 3-week period, coming off an 18-3 week and 17-9 2 weeks ago. And then 3 weeks ago, he was 18-2, 17-9, 17-3. I believe is or 18-3. It's just phenomenal. He is on your Las Vegas Raiders. He got him a +10 at -110. This opened up at 10.5. Well, the look ahead was 10.5, and then it reemerged on Sunday night at a flat 10. It only lasted there for 10 minutes before it became a 9.5. That only lasted at 9.5 for what? I guess 16, 15 hours before it moved to a 9 where it stayed. So we've had a 1-point move towards the Raiders. From a total standpoint here, we have the 43 at a pick'em. This opened up at 42.5, or the look ahead was 42.5, reemerged late Sunday night, 11:47 p.m. at flat 42, and then it got to 43. The way I see this spot here is, first off, with the Raiders, they finally got a little bit of offense. The weather is not cold. Geno Smith just put up 4 touchdowns, and Jacoby Myers off the field is a positive. And it's something that people need to understand. When you have one player who wants out, like, do you think Breece Hall is going to have a big game coming up? No. Jacoby Myers was telling everybody he saw, I want to be traded. Supposedly he was doing it with a smile, walking around, talking about wanting to be traded everywhere he went. Get him out. So I don't think it's a negative that he's out. Sure, he's better than Lockett, but you want people who want to be there. So him leaving is not a negative. The noise-canceled score from that game against Jaguars was 30-25 Raiders. What happened was Brock Bowers came back. You know, he'd missed 3 games with a knee injury. He caught 12 passes for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ashton Genty is a very good running back. And this offensive line just needs to protect him a little bit. I mean, he's getting hit so early, and this is as healthy as the Raiders have been all season long. For the Broncos, after facing whom I believe is the best defense in the NFL, the Houston Texans, going up against this Raiders defense that's ranked 30th in pass defense, 28th in rush defense, 30th in third down defense, 24th pass rush, and 17th in the red zone, it's going to be easy. Now, I don't know exactly what the Raiders are going to do offensively, but I wouldn't put it past them, to get to get up to 17 points in this football game, to do some damage here. I thought that this first half over and full game over was absolutely spectacular because everybody just saw the Broncos not be able to move the ball at all against the Texans. And so I moved as soon as I can. I moved as soon as I could, I should say. I got the first half over 21, flat 21 at -115. Then I got the full game over 42.5 at -110. I've never run hotter in totals in my life, and 90% of my totals are unders. But the overs are cashing, and I'm on first half over, full game over. Let's just take a quick look at the cash flow and then hand it over to Morgan Spooner. When we get to the cash flow, 70% of the tickets are on Denver, but just 51% of the cash. And unders are being bet. 72% of the tickets are on the under. 68% of the cash is on an under. When you go over to a book like Circa, a very sharp book, they have 66% of it started with 66% of cash and 66% of the tickets, 64% of the cash. Now it's 65% of the tickets and 66% of cash on the under. It's the under is being bet. And what did they do? They moved it from 42 up to 43. They don't care. I'm on first half over, full game over. Morgan Spooner, you've been running very hot. Can't wait to hear your plan of attack. Raiders, Broncos, take it away.
So this is a game I'm not going to walk into with pregame action. I like where Troy's at with that 10 with Vegas. I think that was a great job getting that number early. That's long gone at this point. There's 8.5s around. That's a fine number, but not anything that I see a bunch of value on. I have a lot of questions on how this game's really going to play out. Is Denver's defense really as good without Surtain back there? And can Vegas kind of do that addition by subtraction you're talking about, getting Jacoby Myers out of the offense, getting one of their better receivers back there with their tight end last week? Can Las Vegas kind of turn a corner? And I just see this as one of those spots where we can get in live at a much better number. If Las Vegas comes out and puts points up on the board, we're going to be able to get Denver under a touchdown. And I think if we get that number, we should be on Denver. But I think the more likely scenario is that Denver comes out and scores. After seeing that really good Houston defense last week, I completely agree. This is going to be just such an easier matchup for them. They came out on their first drive last week, looked pretty pitiful, but I think this first drive this week, the scripted plays are probably going to lead to some points for Denver Broncos, probably a touchdown. And if they get the ball first, score a touchdown, this is going to be over 14.5 available live. I might consider moving on it at that point, but if Denver gets a lead and it's more than one touchdown, I think that really sets up for them to play really well, because they can just rely on that pass rush that's still not that still remains unaffected by injuries and kind of hides that secondary injury they have right now. And if they can start blitzing Las Vegas's offensive line just in the second half with a 2-score lead, I'm not sure Vegas really has what it takes to come back, but I think live, if I can get Denver under a touchdown or Vegas over 14.5, those are probably what I'm going to look at. I like your look with the total. Generally, people think just unders Thursday night football. It's where offense goes to die. But as we mentioned, Denver just facing a much weaker defense should be able to put points up. And I do think this Raiders offense is capable of doing something. It's a lot on Geno Smith, and he's like a pitcher. Once you see him in the first inning, you kind of know what you're going to get. If Geno comes out there and looks decent, I think that over is going to be very live, but Vegas has to do something to get you over 43.
Yeah, no, they have to do something. It's one thing about this secondary for the Broncos is that going in their first game without Surtain, it was against the Texans, who could do nothing with whether it was CJ Stroud or Davis Mills. It was nothing, but they were ranked 19th. This supposedly no fly zone 2. Now they're ranked 16th because they put up some nice grades against this horrifically weak Texans passing game. And then another interesting point, Salty Pete saying Brock Bowers is the only elite player on Vegas. He says even Max Crosby is having a great year. Now, I can't speak for his recovery. I can't speak for the older players' recovery when they have the Sunday game and then the Thursday game, and I won't. But he needed the bye so badly. He was beaten up and broken, and he looked much better. 1 sack, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 quarterback hit. They need him to be dominant because no one else on the Raiders had a sack. Only Adam Butler is the only other guy to actually hit Trevor Lawrence. So this is, again, as healthy as they've been all year. Mark A is on Vegas plus 10, Denver on a short week with the Chiefs up next. And one thing about that game against the Bengals, it ended 28-3. The Bengals had Browning at quarterback for that game. I need the Raiders to score to get to this over, because I need the Broncos to actually have to try to put points up on the board, not 9-minute drives. Let's just make sure everybody's healthy. This is a business meeting. And so if the Raiders aren't scoring, then I will lose. This is great weather. I know that Geno is an indoor quarterback, but he's not even being that good indoors until this last week. I like the first half over and the full game over. So, and for a live plan, I need to see the Raiders do something to know that I need to see them moving the ball. They don't have to score a touchdown right away, but I need to see them, moving the chains. if I want to move on them live. There we go. There's just my 2 cents play of the day. It is Nick's SGP, 175 plus passing yards, 1 plus passing touchdown, 15 plus rush yards. Let's copy and paste that. You are in business, TC. Looking forward to rock with you here on our live stream. So that is the Thursday nighter. It is time, Spooner, for our first foray into college basketball of the year together, my friend. I'm looking forward to watch you cook in college basketball. Let's get this all set up here. I cashed my first college bet of the year, Ryder, first half. Got a little tiny bit sweaty late. You know,
I was watching that game as well. Like they had that wrapped up, and then all of a sudden, just the points started coming. Did it finish 11?
11 because it sucked. It was okay that it was the 11 because I was telling campers who could only get the 11 and a half that was fine. Don't worry, the plus 11 and a half was fine. It was a little sweaty. It also started off terribly. It was 17-6. So, and I'm driving down to the hockey game, and of course, the wife doesn't want me following.
I think that's an important angle to remember for this college basketball season. Those big dogs that you like, taking that first half number, because the books bake a lot of the full game total or the full game spread into that first game spread for the favorite. So you can get a much better number on the dog if you like them to perform well. And it's a lot easier because you don't get, like, one thing with having a good coach, like most of the good teams do, is they have the ability to make the halftime adjustments, and you completely take that ability out of it with that number. I think that's a great job getting that 12 when the full game total is only a few points more than that.
Yeah, and when the full game spread moved from 20.5 to 18.5, the first half only moved a half point. So yeah, it was a good start, and the angle that I used, I have 2 bets on for today. Now, I've only made 1 bet because the one line's moving pretty heavily against me, so I kind of wanted to wait. So we have 3 games that Spooner has picked that he's moving on. We have 2 games that I have picked that I'm moving on. These are our 5 games today. Thank you for joining us here, Pub Sports Radio, with Morgan Spooner with us. And we start at the Convocation Center in Athens, Ohio, home of the Ohio Bobcats, facing the Illinois State Redbirds. Let's set this one up here. We have not seen the Redbirds this year. The Bobcats did get a game in. They lost 89-85 at home. This is the MAC SBC Challenge, but it is in Athens, Ohio. They lost to the Arkansas State Red Wolves. So they were 3.5-point home favorites. They didn't play that bad. They just got out-rebounded badly. So despite winning the turnover battle by 8, they get out-rebounded 41-25. They shoot 49.2 from the field and 30.8% from 3. If you shoot 49.2 from the field, you should be winning these basketball games. And they were in control for a lot of that game. They were up 33-24. I think that was their biggest lead. They were even up late quite a bit. They were up, it was pretty close. They were up 72-68 with 7 minutes left in the game. So that is the Ohio Bobcats. Let's take a look at this line history and hear what Spooner's plan of attack is. This is basically a -1.5. It opened up with Illinois State -1.5, -110. Now it's a pick'em. Basically, Ohio's gone from +1.5 to -1.5. The pick'em here is the money line is +104 for Illinois State and -124 for the Bobcats. So this is moving towards the Ohio Bobcats, who have a game under their belt. We have a total here of 160.5. This is juiced to the over. Opened up at 158, got up to 158.5, and then this morning had that 2-point move to 160.5. And now that 160.5 is pretty heavily juiced. That last 8-cent move towards the over happened 9 minutes ago. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 56% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Illinois State. It's wild. 66% of tickets and 88% of the cash on the over. Well, we see the market moving towards the over. What we don't see is this line moving towards Illinois State. If we look at even at Circa, the initial money was on Ohio, and then the Illinois State money came in, and they haven't moved it. They've left this Ohio -1.5. It's still Ohio -1.5, but now they have Illinois State money, and they're just leaving it there. It did get up to 2 at one point. Can't wait to hear your breakdown. Take it away for us, Spooner. Thank you, Robert Cherry, my man. I'll be copying and pasting the action. Jerry Davis took Ohio plus 1.5. What's Morgan Spooner doing?
So one thing I'd like to note with those splits is the last time I looked at the money line splits, Ohio had a heavy favor in the money on the money line splits. With a game with this low of total, I think it's probably important to look at both sides of that, or low of a spread. I really like Illinois State here. This is a team that's returning more scoring than almost anybody in the country. I think they're ranked 4th or 5th in returning points coming back to their team. You mentioned Ohio Bobcats and their issue with rebounding the basketball in that first game. They had an 11-point lead in the first half. They were leading that game with 10 minutes left. They blew it late. Their inability to kind of come together as a team, get those big boards and find buckets. That's something that kind of hinders a lot of teams early in the season, trying to find your new identity with the players that you have now. And the Illinois State Redbirds don't have to do that. All their major scorers are back. They have an absolute issue inside for the Ohio Bobcats. 6'10", 280 pounds. The center there, Chase Walker. Watching him last year, he was an issue for all the mid-major teams. I don't know what Ohio's going to be able to do with that. They have some guys that are tall, but they don't have anybody that's really strong and thick to be able to guard him. It's going to force them to try some zones out, and Illinois State has some really good shooters. I look at this opening number, a team like Ohio Bobcats. This is a team that's going to be in contention to win their conference at the end of the season, and them opening as a dog to another mid-major, not a major school or anything like that, at home, pretty telling line to me. I think Illinois State should be a 3-point favorite on a neutral. I think they should be close to a pick 'em here, and I think Illinois State wins this game. Ohio, maybe they find a way, but just after that first letdown game at home, to come back home in front of the same crowd, everybody I know that's Ohio Bobcats fans are really excited about their football team. They're really lackluster about basketball, not really aware that it's going on right now because the Ohio Bobcat football season is going really well. I don't expect a lot of energy in that building tomorrow. I think you'll see that come conference play with this team in that building, but I think today that building's going to be pretty empty, and I just don't think it's a huge advantage. I don't think they should be getting points for it, and I think Illinois State's the much better team here. By the end of this game, I don't think it's going to be close to a pick 'em. That plus money 105 right now is available. I bet that. I bet the -1 last night. My goal is to just cash out of that -1 during the game. I have the 105 as well, plus money. I just want to make that plus 105 that's live right here, available, official. That's what I tweeted out as well.
You are in business. Spooner, first official college basketball bet of the season, Morgan. Right here, my man. Illinois State Redbirds at plus 105. We move on to game 2 here for Morgan Spooner. It is the Robert Morris Colonials 0-1 to start the year against the Drake Bulldogs 1-0. We're in Des Moines, Iowa. For this one, Robert Morris got it all started on Tuesday. Drake got their season started on Monday. On Tuesday, the Colonials lost badly to the Hawkeyes. Now, they were 22.5-point dogs, but they got annihilated. They turned the ball over 23 times. They were down 23 points at halftime. Iowa shot 61.7 from the field and 46.7 from 3. It was a debacle. It was a debacle to get things started here for the Colonials, which is generally would possibly be a spot that I would like to back them in. But they were so soundly beaten. The reason why the score wasn't worse was because Iowa sort of emptied the bench and checked things out in the second half. For Drake, they just played in the Field of 68 opening day marathon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So it was a neutral game. They were 8.5-point favorites. They opened up at 9.5, closed at 8.5, and they won by 6. And they didn't make it look very easy. Northern Arizona was hitting threes and didn't turn the ball over. So it was not easy for Drake. And in fact, there was a point late where Drake was down 7 They were down 7 with 7 minutes left in the game. So Drake didn't make anything look very easy in their first foray of the year. Let's take a look at the line history here for our second game on the board. This total is a 150. Opened up at 148.5. So we have another total that has climbed. And then when we get to the point spread here for game 2 from Morgan Spooner, we have, I think I just blew past it. We have Drake minus 7.5. So we have a line move towards the Colonials. Colonials have gone from 9.5 to 7.5. Now, this happened once already. The 9.5 down to 7.5. This you could get Drake minus 7.5 at 4:35 in the morning. What happened was at 9 in the morning, came right back to 9. So at this number, there are gamblers who think it's advantageous for Drake. It's back at 7.5 right now. It is juiced towards Drake. And when we get to the cash flow here, we have 60% of tickets and 69% of the cash on Drake. Circa is holding the 8, while a lot of the legal books have moved to 7.5. If we go over to Action to get a little bit more information from them, as we can maybe get some total information, they're saying that 2% of the tickets and 11% of the cash is on Drake. That's what they're saying. They're saying 98 and 89. There's a reason why we kind of stopped using them. And then on the total, 59% of the tickets, 60% cash on the under, and it is climbing. Game 2 for you, Morgan Spooner. We're in Des Moines. Take it away.
Yeah, and 365 has a minus 6.5 right now, minus 110 on the Drake Bulldogs.
Wow.
Full point off market, moved on that. So this Drake team is in a coaching changeover. Their former coach last year, Ben McCollum, went to Iowa to play. As you mentioned, Iowa just played Robert Morris. A little bit of a connection there between Eric Henderson and Ben McCollum. I think that's a huge advantage for Drake. Them getting to talk to the Iowa coaching staff. They have a lot of assistant coaches that went over there. Just the ability to scout is so important in college basketball, know what you get into. And a Drake head coach being able to talk to the last Drake head coach about the team he's facing right now, I think is a huge advantage. On Drake's side of the ball, they played Northern Arizona. And as you mentioned, Northern Arizona played great. There's a point in the second half there where Northern Arizona came down 4 straight possessions, hit 4 threes. Didn't look like Drake was going to be able to pull that out. Eric Henderson coming over from South Dakota, been there for 5 years, has won over 20 games in almost every season as a head coach, had a 30 win season. This Drake program is really proud. I think they have high expectations for him. And that team, a bunch of mix. There's nobody returning from Drake's team last year. I think one player. So all these guys are transfer porter mix-ins, and that was their first game together. Being able to pull it out that late second half win, I think was really huge for them. Huge for Eric Henderson. They didn't play that game at home or on the road. It was on a neutral, a really old court. I think getting to go back home, open the season with a new head coach, I think there's going to be a lot of energy in the building. I think Drake's going to come out with a lot more confidence after that win. I put Robert Morris and Northern Arizona kind of in similar classes of where they are as programs, but Robert Morris had a great season last year. They lost all of their production from last season, just one player back from that roster. And I think there's a huge opportunity for Drake to come out here and really blow the doors off Robert Morris. I see this being a 10-point game by the end of it. North of that, Ken Palm has this projected 81-71. Don't agree with the movement with Robert Morris, and I'm going to take the nice points they're giving him with us. Minus 6.5 Drake.
Minus 6.5 at minus 110. We also reach the taint play of the day in this one. Taint play of the day is the under 149.5 in Robert Morris Drake. Taint is the under in this one. Speaking of taint, we also have our guy Matty Ice on Illinois State. At that point, this is just a heavy lean, so I should say that. A heavy lean for him is Illinois State plus 1.5. And he is interested in moving on this next one as well. So started out the year for me 1-0. Here is game 2 for me this year. And you'll hear and see that this is a similar cap that I used yesterday. And I'm doing it twice today. But this is the only one I've moved on. UC Riverside Highlanders, North Dakota Fighting Hawks. We're in Grand Forks, North Dakota for this one. UC Riverside opened their season with a 90-49 victory over La Sierra Golden Eagles. They're in the Div 2 Golden State Athletic Conference. And I love this situation. I always have. You can create bad habits when you destroy weak competition. You can also feel good about yourself, really good about yourself, when maybe you shouldn't be. And the opposite is happening here. So the Highlanders now move on to their first road game of the year, and North Dakota comes in off a 91-62 loss to Alabama at Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa on Monday night. They shot 38.7% from the field. They shot 25% from three. They were beaten by a very good basketball team. Now, I don't know yet how good UC Riverside is. I'm not going to. What I'm going to do here is believe that North Dakota is angry and UC Riverside feels good about themselves. So I am on the same angle that I was yesterday. I'm taking the team that lost to a very good basketball team to menace in the first half of this basketball game. Now, can UC Riverside take a punch, gather their shit together, and show that they're the better basketball team here? Possibly. It's well within the realm of possibilities. But for me, I want North Dakota early, UC Riverside feeling good about themselves. So that is my action here. North Dakota, I got them first half on the money line at minus 110. At the time, offshore, it was minus 114. Now, I'm looking at that offshore. That's very sharp. It's minus 131 on the first half. That's a good feeling here. Let's take a look at what the line history is for the full game, because I know a lot of you guys would prefer focusing on 40 rather than 20. We have on the full game line history here. Oh, sorry, I just blew past it. Here we go. Wow, North Dakota's minus 2.5. Look at that. So they opened up as a pick'em. It got to +1, back to a pick'em, got up to minus 1.5. This is all last night. Then back to a pick'em. Now they're 2.5 point favorites. I like everything about that. I almost doubled up too. I'm not going to now, and I just want to keep the same plan. And if it doesn't work, let's say North Dakota wins the full game, but not the first half. Look, you have to deal with these consequences. This total has dropped and dropped and dropped. Opened up at 154.5, got all the way down to 147.5, and is now at 148.5. In the NBA, I believe they have enough data on these players to say, I don't think the advanced models are off by 7 points, and I would fade that market move. And it's been very successful for me. In college basketball, I don't feel that way at all, especially early in the year. We have cash flow wise, 56% of the tickets and 91% of the cash. Now that is on the spread. So we should probably talk about the money line. 88% of tickets, 87% cash on the under, and it's just dropped, like a bag of rocks. When we get to the information here, let me get over to UC Riverside, North Dakota on the money line here from Action. 51% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on North Dakota. Take it away, Spooner. This is my game one here. I'm on the Fighting Hawks first half money line.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting matchup. I'm not a huge fan of either of these teams heading into the season. Kind of low expectations. Don't expect them to be kind of fighting for their respective conferences. One thing I'd note here is that you have a Big West team versus a Summit League team, and I think the Big West is probably head and shoulders above the Summit League. Probably 6 or 7 conferences, if you're going to rank them all out, at least ahead of them. So just on a regular neutral floor, I would always favor that Big West team, which is UC Riverside. North Dakota at home, though, so you take some of that advantage out of it. I agree. I don't think there's a lot of advantage coming out of those early. You play an NAIA kind of team and just beat up on them, but it does allow you, like some of these teams, to kind of find out who their bench players are, get a lot of minutes in for other teams. North Dakota coming off a game versus Alabama where last season they gave Alabama a run for their money there. Trayson Eaglestaff had one of his best games of the season. North Dakota's lost their best player. They don't really have that ability to go out and continue to recruit guys like Eaglestaff, but they did get him, and I imagine they have some recruiting ability to get some more talent in there. UC Riverside, I think it's really easy to get there. Just what I'm talking about with conferences, they're just always kind of in these out-of-conference matchups. Take the stronger conference, and that team will probably win. I think it's really easy to get there, and I think that's why all the cash is on Riverside. I think it's really interesting this line's moved to North Dakota with all that cash there. You look at how they kind of shade lines, kind of expecting money. I wonder if this was one of those lines. I agree with your North Dakota take. This isn't a game I'm going to get on, but I just have a lot of questions about these teams. Like I said, neither one of these teams is probably going to win 15 games this season, so I don't think you're going to have a hard road to overcome. If either one of these teams goes down a few buckets and you like that team, that's when you move on them. But I'm off this altogether.
This is my first spot on tonight's board. Let's move on to the third spot for our guy, Morgan Spooner. That takes us to Mobile, Alabama. Alcorn State Braves at the South Alabama Jaguars with the Mitchell Center in Mobile. Both teams have got their season underway. Alcorn State started down in Florida State, and it was a rough time in Tallahassee. Now, they shot the ball beautifully, which is, Florida State's got to answer for. Now, despite shooting 51% from the field and 50% from three, they lose, by margin here. They lose by 32 points. They were down 14 at the half, and then they got beaten up in the second half. They turned the ball over 21 times. I mean, that was the problem. Wiggins went for 22 for Florida State. They were 27.5-point favorites, and they looked like a fun basketball team. How about that? They were able to score. They couldn't defend. They turned the ball over too much. On the other hand, the South Alabama Jaguars had a very tough first game. It was on Monday. It was a Monday, and it was not easy at all. It was at the Toledo Rockets, and it was a great game. They won 76-74. They were 2.5-point dogs. They were in control. They were up, 17. They were up 13 at the break. They were up 17 a few minutes in to the into the second. Sorry, when was that? 17. A couple minutes into the second half. They were in control, and then they let Toledo back in, and they were up 74-65 with 3 minutes left. So it was a wild basketball game. They shot 55.2 from the field and 36.8 from three. They allowed the Rockets to shoot 45.5 from three, but they were able to out-rebound them by 10, and they got the bag. Let's get into the line history here for Spooner's third game of three, and then I have the last one here. This total at 141.5. Opened up 142.5, got up to 143.5 before it dropped to 141.5. And then when we get to the point spread here for this one, we have this right now sitting at that 18.5. Now, this opened up at 15 yesterday at 7:34 p.m. It took about 2.5 hours for it to get to 16.5. Dropped to 16 for a minute this morning, up to 17, and then up to 19.5. This was a 19.5 at 9:37 a.m., sitting at 18.5 right now, which is a 3.5-point move towards the Jaguars. And when we take a look at the cash flow for this one, I don't, how is it not here? Am I tripping? Let me go to the extra games here. Maybe that's it. Extra games here. Here we go. We have no information in the extra games. So let's go over to action. Maybe it's dangerous to do this, but let's take a look. They have right now 25% of the tickets on South Alabama and 65% of the cash. So clear, sharp, bigger bets coming in on the Jaguars. Line moving in their direction, despite the public on the other side. 76% of tickets, 73% cash on the over. Morgan Spooner, take it away.
Yeah, Alcorn State, South Alabama, two teams in very different conferences. South Alabama is beyond head and shoulders above Alcorn. Alcorn's probably a bottom 30 team in the nation right now, and I think South Alabama has a chance to be a top 100 team in the nation by the time this season wraps up. So I think this is a huge favor to South Alabama, obviously opening 15-point favorites, now sitting at 18.5-point favorites. It's reflected there. I went to that South Alabama Toledo game. It was a great game. South Alabama opened that game up to 17, 19 points. Using a zone the entire game, they put so little effort into that. It was a very no threes zone. You talk about Toledo's ability to shoot the three ball well. They had a freshman come off the bench in his very first game in college basketball, hit 5 threes. He was just on fire. Really kind of lit the gym on fire. You get a ton of momentum in basketball, and just watching that turn, you watch South Alabama kind of fall apart on the free throw line, but they continued to get good shots. They continued to come up, and their defense was always really good. That kid made a couple really good shots. I think if that game's played out 5 or 6 more times, South Alabama walks away with a 10-point lead just from that second half. But they really just frustrated Toledo with that zone, and I think it's going to frustrate a ton of offenses this year. It's kind of unique in college basketball to see a zone the way they ran it, and it allows them to conserve energy, just not chasing around the best shooters on the floor. They don't have like a really big man, but they have a ton of size spread across the floor. Their point guard is 6'6", and his ability to just drive towards the basket, create open shots for his teammates. I think this is going to be a South Alabama just absolute blowout game. The 3.5 points of movement from the opening line, I think it probably continues to move that way. I said on the Sauce show last night, I think this line should be 20 points. And that's where I'm at. I got South Alabama minus 16.5. I tried to bet the 15.5. 2 bets into the season, I got limited on my college basketball sides on the book that had the 15.5. So I was pretty disappointed into that.
Wow, that's a good sign. But wow. South Alabama minus 16.5. I mean, it's a good sign from a gambler. It's a bad sign from the industry.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. Minus 16.5, minus 110 for Spooner here on the South Alabama Jaguars. We got Kong's clips on Louisville minus 37.5 and Louisville first half minus 22.5. This leads us into our final game here in college basketball. Bet number 2 for me, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're in Abilene, Texas, Moody Coliseum. Omaha Mavericks started their season with an L at the Abilene Christian Wildcats. Now, Omaha opened their season with this 85-77 loss at home to Murray State. They were 5.5-point dogs. They had a strong first half. They down 3, and then they just had, which we see often, just an 8 or 9 minute stretch where they couldn't hit a bucket, and Murray State took advantage. So this game is sitting here 29-29 with 2 minutes left in the first half. Then they can't hit a bucket, and next thing you know, it's 52-37 with 12.5 minutes left in the second. So in that 10 minutes, they went from 29-29 and allowed 23 points while they scored 9. And it fell apart. Or excuse me, while they scored 8. So 23-8 run. And it fell apart. And then they battled all the way back. They fought. This is a team that was down 15 with 5 minutes left. They battled. They were down, 15 with 4 minutes left. And they made it a game. They fought hard late. I mean, sure, they lose by 8. They didn't get it too close, but they kept fighting. They turned the ball over 17 times, and they fell apart in that early stretch in the beginning of the second half. What did Abilene Christian do? They opened their season with an easy win over Division III McMurray Warhawks, 92-55. Shout out to True Allow, 4th and 1 Entertainment in the house. DC, I'll go over all of this here in a second. But look, I want to attack these teams that feel good after beating a Div 2 or even worse, a Div 3 McMurray Warhawks team. Omaha Mavericks did some good things. They're angry. Abilene Christian Wildcats, who cares what they just did? Feeling good about themselves, sitting at home after beating a Div 3 team, and now they have an angry opponent coming in. The problem is this line's moved heavily towards Abilene Christian. And so I didn't feel comfortable betting it. That could change, but let's go over the line history here. The Abilene Christian opened up -3, went to -4, and then came back to -3. I like that a lot. I wish we were sitting here at a -3, but we're not. This has got up to 5. Nebraska Omaha is now juiced with that 5, but that's not a great sign. It won't take me off my plan and my bet. Backing them first half. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't come in and get a number that was not nearly as good if I had have waited. And I also, want to sit with it for a little longer, let the market marinate. This total opened up at 153.5. It's now a 152. When we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 60% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on Abilene Christian. A book like Circa, they had this all the way up to 5.5, and they have 63% of the tickets and 93% of the cash on Abilene Christian, and they brought it back to 4.5. So I'm going to make this bet. I'm pleased the public is backing Abilene Christian, and I'm going to stick to my plan. Morgan Spooner, our final game of 5 here. This is my spot. We're in Moody Coliseum in Abilene, Texas for this one. Take it away.
Yeah, this is a very interesting game. Nebraska Omaha played in a standalone game there on opening day. So I feel like out of all the teams that got to play, I think if you're going to see anybody with too much value on them, it's going to be those teams that played in those standalone games. I think a lot of people watched that Nebraska play really tough. They were right there in the first half the entire game, had chances to win it. Started to fall behind in the second half. No surprise there. Murray State was the better team. They were favored for a reason. Playing on a neutral, maybe it sort of favored Nebraska, but not a ton. Now they got to fly into Texas, Abilene, Texas, play an Abilene Christian team, which is probably about the same level of team as what Omaha is. I expect Omaha to finish better in their respective conference than what Abilene will, but Abilene plays in the WAC, which is a better conference than what you have with the Summit League, and just a little bit better competition. Omaha's coming off, I think, the best season I can ever remember them having in college basketball. They do have some returning production from that team. They bring back their same coach. I have some optimism for this team, but I'm not sure if I really like it on a road game, especially when Abilene Christian has one of those cupcake games next. They play Southwestern Adventist at home, one of those games they don't even have to look at. And on Sunday, Colorado State, Omaha has to fly to and go play. So I kind of question some of the motivations, but you don't really want to walk into the season with 3 losses either if you're Nebraska and you had a chance to beat Murray State there and you have no chance to beat Colorado State. So I could see them putting a ton of focus on this Abilene game. I agree. I was kind of looking around. I think we'll see 5.5 at some point before close here. And if I could get a 5.5 with Omaha, I think I'd like it, even with the market kind of moving that way. We talk about how lines are just kind of opened. I thought Abilene should have been a bigger favorite than this. A WAC team versus a Summit League team playing at home. I think Abilene should have been 5-6 point favorites at least to open, and seeing that 3 point is a lot of value there for Omaha, or not a lot of value with Omaha, but a lot of respect to Omaha. And I think I want to pay respect to that opening line here. I'd like to get on Omaha at 5.5. I haven't gotten there yet. Kind of interested to see what happens throughout the day here. This is one of the later games, but I like where you're at with it. I don't think there's anything to be too scared of with Abilene as far as their roster goes. They have a decent team, but not a great team.
Yeah, I'm excited about these 2 spots. It worked for me yesterday. I have North Dakota money line right now. Omaha first half plus 2.5 minus 110 looking at me, and I will move on at some point when I think that the lines stop moving so heavy towards Abilene Christian. Let's review our college basketball action. Spooner season debut here. Illinois State Redbirds plus 105. Drake Bulldogs minus 6.5 at minus 110. I'm on the North Dakota Fighting Hawks first half minus 110 on the money line. Put that on X better earlier this morning. And Spooner is on South Alabama minus 16.5 at minus 110. That's moved to 19 at some books. And then I am on the Nebraska Omaha Mavericks here. And first half plus the points. And I haven't bet that yet, but that'll be my last spot here. So that is our college basketball here for Thursday, November 6th. Thank you so much for your time, Spooner, my man. Oh, and the NFL Cappers contest lines are live. Spooner and I and Troy Torrance right in the thick of the battle there, looking up at the great MMA Mad Hatter. 31-14. What a monster.
Absurd.
What a monster MMA Mad Hatter is. Spooner, excellent work, man. I'm going to pop your X handle here in the chat. Spooner, also one of the stars of the Sauce Network, and we're very thankful to have him rocking with us here. Spooner, what is the rest of your schedule here for this week?
We're doing nightly breakdowns of NCAA action. We're not going through the full card. We're all just kind of picking a few games to go through and hitting. So I'll be on the Sauce Network at midnights for the rest of the week, and I'll be popping on Sunday morning, I believe, with you to break down NFL. Pretty excited about the rest of the week to come. NCAA action's pretty exciting. I mentioned I went to that Toledo game. I was sitting in the third row right next to that freshman's mom and aunt. They were going nuts. He came in off the bench in the first half and ended up playing 30 minutes. I bet he ends up starting the next game.
Oh, that's exciting. That's fun, man. It looked like you had great seats. Looked like a lot of fun. Spoons, thank you for your time, my man. And I will be in touch with you, pal. So thank you for all your hard work. Any last words for the Cappers Board and Show?
Good luck today, everybody. Get that cash.
Let's go. Our guy, Morgan Spooner in the house. Let's roll into college football here. Let's roll into college football. So we start here with our Thursday night action, and then we're going to go into the SEC. We have Nick Frazier joining us from Water Cooler Talk Sports. But first, we have our guy, Daby Cab, in the house to talk Thursday night college football action. Please welcome the star of the Tailgate every Saturday and Medicate Mondays every Monday, our guy Dabber Cadabra. Daby, how are you, my man?
Oh man, it's been a good season. Glad that we're back in a rhythm here with the show. I'm healthy again, so I'm ready to rock, Jimmy. We're going to win again this week. I took possibly the worst beat that I've ever had gambling this last weekend. But I looked into the numbers for my props, and I keep telling myself the pain is worth the profit, okay? The pain is worth the profit. Some of these props, and I'm going to have another quarterback prop tonight, there's some bullshit that can happen with getting sacked, or I guess if you have an intentional grounding, you can lose yards. But all that aside, the props have been hitting at a great rate, and I'm not going to stop betting them just because I got kicked in the nuts.
Hey, it happens. It happens. It's been a terrible season for me, but I'm on a streak right now that I won't talk about, because when I talk about them and explain where it's at, it stops. So I would just like to keep going and stay focused, and let's do exactly that. We got Daby Cab here for Thursday night action, then Nick Frazier joining us for SEC action. We start November 6th this very evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Boone, North Carolina. It's getting cold, 47 Fahrenheit, but low winds, clear, 4-mile-per-hour winds. We have the Georgia Southern Eagles, 3-5, 1-3 in the Sun Belt. At the App State Mountaineers, 4-4, 1-3 in the Sun Belt. Let's take a look at the situation here. Georgia Southern's lost 3 of 4. They had to play their rivals, Georgia State, to get a victory, and they looked good, but that was at home, where they often look much better than on the road. On the road, they've had problems, and they had problems against Arkansas State, 34-24 in their last game. They took a 14-7 lead. They were playing pretty good football. Arkansas State Red Wolves were just 1.5-point favorites. Opened up as 2.5-point favorites, closed as 1.5-point favorites. Arkansas State put up 482 yards of offense. They also turned the ball over twice. They probably should have had a bigger lead than what they had. So it's just Georgia Southern on the road, probably can't be trusted. Going up against the App State Mountaineers, we're in Boone. They've lost 2 straight. Now, the loss at home to Coastal Carolina was, egregious. They opened up as 11.5-point favorites, close as 10.5-point favorites, and, they didn't look good. Now, Collier did look good, and maybe they weren't prepared for the change in quarterback that Coastal Carolina had. Coastal Carolina went in and beat them. And I'm sure they're stinging from that. They came back and they played ODU, and they played ODU tough. And it was a very low-scoring game when ODU had been playing all these high-scoring games. That total was 60.5, and 45 points were scored. It was 10-7 at halftime. But App State were 12.5-point dogs, and they stepped up. And we see that. We see, you drop the bag at home, then you step up in that next game. So we've already experienced that from App State. Now they probably owe their fans some defense because none was played when they were at home against Coastal Carolina. So let's take a look at this line history and hand it over to Daby Cab. College football here. We're going to get this line history up. Sorry, it's going to take me 1 second. And we'll start with the spread. Georgia Southern +5. We know what happens, and I'm sure Troy's ears are perked here as it's gone through the 6. So Georgia Southern opening up +6.5. We've gone through the 6 down to a 5. That's a pretty big move. From a total standpoint here, we have a 61.5. Opened up at 62.5, got up to 63 before it started dropping. And from a cash flow perspective here, we have 59% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on Georgia Southern. Wow. 83% of tickets, 69% cash on the over. Wow. So let's see what Circa's done with all this money on Georgia Southern. They have 69% of tickets and 95% of the cash, and they've really not moved it that much. They opened it at 6, moved it 6.5. They started reporting numbers yesterday, and they moved it down to 5.5. So they've moved it a half point with 95% of the cash on Georgia Southern. Good God. Daby Cab, take it away. Georgia Southern Eagles, App State Mountaineers.
If you look at J.C. French, quarterback for Georgia Southern, you'll see the 6 interceptions on the season, and I'm certain that guy goes by Frenchie. So that's what I'm going to say from here on out. So Frenchie with the 6 interceptions, it kind of looks like a daunting number, a bad number. Man, he had 3 of those in one game, right? He hasn't thrown an interception since that 3 interception game. And outside of that, the most he's had in a game is 1. So, I don't worry about that so much. And that was my initial thought looking into this. I worry about Georgia Southern turning over the football. I think they're going to protect the ball here. Look, I have action on the Thursday night games, just not in this one. If you gave me a bet, I'd probably take the over. I don't know if I'd like it at 63. I genuinely think this game finishes between 59 and 65 points, like honestly. And I don't like betting something when I think it's that close. I'd maybe take the 5.5 on a side, but I really think, Jimmy, whoever wins this football game probably gets into the 40s. If not, both teams possibly climb into the 30s. So I'd go over if I was betting it, but I don't have action in this one.
It's taken I wish that they had that game against ODU and we were playing 7 days later. That's not the case. That was on the 25th of October. So they probably had some time to kind of regroup. By the way, of course, as we look at different sites to gather this information as to where the public cash is, over at the Action Network, they tell a different story. They have 59% of the tickets, 57% of cash on the Mountaineers. Going through the 6 to the 5 means I need to ask Troy if he wants Georgia Southern. I would like to see another sign, I think, from the books that they're concerned. If they're so public, if Circa's taking 95% of the cash on that one side, they only move it a half point. At least they moved it a half point. You'd probably like to see a little more here. So I have interest in moving on Georgia Southern. That total did go up and has come back down. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. And this is fun. We have Jose Bouquet's UTSA Roadrunners. I hit the low point in the year in that UTSA Tulane game.
It's so funny that you just brought up Jose. Why did he just send me a text that said, "Want to do me a favor you'll enjoy"? Jose, I don't know if there's many favors for you that I'll enjoy, but I'll let you know if it's an interesting response when he answers, Jimmy, and everybody in the chat.
Oh, no. He is in Miami right now. UTSA just smashed Tulane. They're just a different team at home than they are on the road. The Alamo Dome, they put up points. They were up 31-12 at halftime. They were 5.5-point dogs. Opened up at 4.5. The line was moving towards Tulane. They put up 523 yards of offense. They forced 4 turnovers. They just played a very good football game, and I was a mess. South Florida, on the other hand, is coming off losing 34-31 at Memphis, and they're coming back home. They were 3.5-point favorites. They had the game seemingly in control, 31-17 going into the fourth quarter, and then everything fell apart. They put up 564 yards and lost the football game. Didn't put up a point in the fourth, and allowed 2 touchdowns and a field goal. The last one with 1:07 left. It was a huge win for Memphis and a shocking loss for the Bulls. Not because they lose, on the road as 3.5-point favorites. It's because of how they lost. So they must be an angry, angry group. We're at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, 72 Fahrenheit, light rain, 3-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have a total of 68. This opened up at 68. It's back at 68. No movement. And then let's get into the spread here. See what numbers we are talking for the spread. I tell you, this situation with UTSA South Florida it really stung. Now we have South Florida opening up minus 13.5, getting up to 14, dropping 13.5 a few times, but staying at 14. Look, we smash and grab Toledo. Toledo was in that perfect spot. They'd lost in Pullman. They weren't going to take an opponent lightly. And you have to feel some similar vibes here with South Florida not going to take UTSA lightly. They have to smash and grab the once ranked South Florida Bulls, losing that ranking because of that loss. So let's take a look at the cash flow then here for this spot and hear what Daby Cab is doing. 71% of the tickets, 64% of the cash on South Florida, 70 and 70 on the over. And then we go over to Circa. Let's see what Circa is doing. They have 71% of the tickets and 67% of the cash on USF. It's funny because when they had 71% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on USF, they moved it to 13.5 from 14. They've moved it back to 14, even though some bets are coming in on UTSA. Let's check out another site, see what they're telling us. They're telling us that 71% of the tickets and 52% of the cash is on USF. I mean, is this not just simply a sell the Roadrunners high and buy the South Florida Bulls low? Daby Cab, take it away.
I do think that as a side. Last week when we broke down this game, I was on Retzlaff, the Mormon that's in Tulane. I was on his rushing prop, and he got there for me, even though he seemingly might have lost his position at quarterback that game because they did, take him out of the game after multiple drives where he just didn't do shit. And I went over all the UTSA, issues on defense, and I can pull some of these numbers back up, but the first thing I'll say is it gets worse on the road, right? And they were at home last week. Those numbers only get worse on the road. And even though, Tulane didn't win the football game, don't take this the wrong way, Jimmy, but for me personally, I don't care because I got my prop on it. And I saw UTSA's defense. They cannot tackle, okay? The yards after contact for this defense are just off the charts. So I think you probably know where I'm going here. I'm going to I already took Brown's rushing prop, quarterback for South Florida, right in line with what I was just saying. His yards after contact are outstanding. Even if you go back last year against like Alabama, he was still getting 5 yards after contact against Alabama's defense last year. This is a guy who breaks tackles, who makes people miss an open field, and UTSA is not going to be able to contain him. Their only road to being in this football game is by putting up a shit ton of points like they did last week. And I'm not saying they can't do that, but I do think Brown gets his yards. Now, I posted it right when I bet it, Jimmy, and that number has gone up since then. I posted it 70.5. It's now 79.5. And it's crazy because I
Wow.
did it and I took like maybe 15, 20 minutes, posted it. And then 30 minutes after the post, somebody messaged me and was like, hey, it went up. And I wanted to say, shop around. Maybe you got a bad line. I went to my book. That shit, it's even higher at my book now. It's at 80.5 at my book. All that being said, the same thing happened with my King Miller rushing prop last week. He went from 79 all the way up to 90 something, and he cashed it with ease. We're getting this prop. Brown is hitting this prop. And I endorse the 80.5 or whatever the fuck number you got to take. So whatever it is out there for anybody, I still like it.
Wow. Sorry, is this?
And I got a little bit more on it. Sorry, I know I'm like kind of ranting on it, but so
No,
like
it's great.
if you look at his rushing yards, like if you go into like in depth on it, which obviously I've done since I'm betting it, first 4 games he struggled a bit. We'll look at the South Carolina State game. Only 9 yards. He didn't need to run the ball. They beat him 63-14. That was not a good football game. It was an absolute ass beating. And the 3 games before that are Boise, Florida, and Miami. That is stiff competition. He still put up, excuse me, I got here we go. He still put up good yards here. Since then, guys, if you go into the yards, he has put up 162, 82, 111, and 121. I don't see any reason why that's a trend. That's what it shows me. They realize, hey, Brown's got to run the football for us to win football games. And that's what they're doing. And even after the 121-yard game last week, I don't see him slowing down at all.
Wow, I love the prop. Sorry, I just floored by the information from Stand On Biz. Good God, so.
And the one, and I keep going, but the 43-yard game against Boise, they only put up 7 points that game, and he still got 43 yards. They're not putting up 7 points against UTSA tonight. It'll be a lot more.
Marshawn Nealand has committed suicide. 24-year-old on the Dallas Cowboys. That is horrible, horrible, horrible news. So, God, sorry, it just it hit me like a ton of bricks. Our thoughts go out to the Nealand family. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about this over the next little while. But this is you got a touchdown on Sunday. Very, very sad. So our thoughts out to the Nealand family. And I wonder, obviously this is going to affect a whole bunch of things. So thank you for telling us about this, Stand On Biz. That's just absolutely heartbreaking stuff. I had not heard about it, Con. I was just capping all day and more. Like I hadn't heard about it. That's just, I don't listen to the news. I just cap.
Me neither.
Wow, that's terribly sad. So thoughts out to that. And thank you for telling us about it, Stand On Biz, so we know what was going on. So back to this game here and stay focused on the capping. I was just sent a message from Ron Crawford, and his site has 80% of the tickets on South Florida and 90% of the cash, which takes us sort of, I think it's important here for us to talk about Toledo and what happened, yesterday with Toledo, because this should move to 14.5, shouldn't it? Isn't that a way for us to be confident? Wouldn't it be?
You'd think it would if there's that much money on it.
I wonder how to navigate this, because this has to be a sell UTSA high and buy South Florida low. Doesn't it have to be that? And, to see it just sitting around 13 out of 14. I mean, I thought it was one of the things about the Toledo spot was the 7.5 first half was not very expensive. The 7 was cost 40 cents. And it was the same with the 14 and 14.5. I loved seeing the 7.5 and the 14.5. I wanted to see it, and we saw it. And I was, I wanted to attack it. This is a similar feeling, but I just can't quite understand why this isn't going to 14.5 to 15, like the Toledo game did. But Byron Brown over 70.5 rush yards from Daby Cab. You must follow our guy Daby Cab on X, and you too would have beaten this line move by 10 yards. I'm interested in Georgia Southern, and I'm interested in the South Florida Bulls. I could leave Georgia Southern alone and only focus on the Bulls, but getting that message from Ron Crawford, and thank you, Ron, for sending it, is a wild spot here. Kong says, I don't think it's going to get there with what UTSA did to Tulane last week. No way they could put up a 14 here. Well, it's a 14 right now. You mean a 14.5. And look at Dutch Boy Fresh. What a start to the NBA season. 35-4. Unbelievable, Dutch.
Shout out to my co-host, man.
Wow.
Wild.
That is absolutely spectacular. I'm happy being 25-21. That's incredible, Dutch. Richly deserved. Congratulations, man. Here we go. Denny Martez, there's zero chance for me wanting anything to do with UTSA because of how good they looked last week and how good they looked at home and how bad they look on the road. So it's only one-way traffic here for me on the South Florida Bulls. I want to see gamblers come in and bet UTSA. So that's where I'm at right now. Let's move on to SEC action here on Pub Sports Radio, and we bring in our next guest, the star of the Water Cooler Talk Sports Show, and Revelation here rocking with us. We've loved capping with them. So we asked them to return to talk SEC action. Please welcome our guy, Mr. Nick Frazier, to the show. Oh, let me fix this up here too. How am I going to do this? This is when I need Jose. There we go. We're in business. Nick, what's good, man? How are you?
Man, I'm doing well, man. How about yourself? How you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. The Marshawn Nealon thing that it sucks.
Took the wind out of your sails a little bit.
Yeah, it just sucks. We're dealing with mental health issues. Clearly, that I have compassion for that. Compassion for if it's CTE stuff going on. A young man like that. I mean, it just sucks. I want to keep my head in the sand and focus on football, but that it's a sad story. We watch these athletes, we cap them, and then you feel like you know them, even though you don't. And so it's just it kind of threw me for a loop here. But I'm excited to have you back in action with us. I'm excited to talk SEC football, and we got some beauty games coming up. So let's get right to work here. We have our guy Nick Frazier from Water Cooler Talk Sports. Daby Cab in business too. You guys worked great together last week. Let's attack the board here. We start at 12 p.m. Eastern. The number 5 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 7-1, 5-1 in the SEC. The Mississippi State Bulldogs. Okay, good. I moved it 5-4, 1-4. Or did you? Maybe Daby did that. Thank you, Daby. 5-4. And 1-4 in the SEC. We're at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville, Mississippi. 74 Fahrenheit, partly sunny, 3 miles per hour. It gets very cold in North America on Sunday. Saturday, it's still pretty good at most of these spots. We capped this game yesterday. This is the only game that we've capped already. The rest are new for us. And Wine Time gave us Mississippi State +8. And I know you've been backing Mississippi State in a lot of these spots as well, Nick. For me, when I was studying this game, and I almost bet it already, but I thought, well, we're going to talk about it again, so why don't I just wait? But I was very interested in moving on the over and doubling up on the over in this game. And I didn't. It had already moved 57.5, so I didn't think I was beating any line move. Let's talk about this. So we know that Wine Time gave us the 8 at -110 yesterday, of which I put a question mark beside as if, I need to look deeper into this. Now we see it at a 9. This moved to 9 at 12:24 today. Just a little less than 2 hours ago, it moved here to 9. So we have another move towards Georgia. And let's take a look at the total. This is what I was really close to wanting to attack. We're still at that 57.5. The under is a little bit juiced. The under's taking 2 cents of movement. That's all. So it's not moving much. And then let's get to the cash flow here for our first spot in the SEC calendar here. And let's see what we are dealing with cash-wise. It might take a second for it to come up. So I don't want to sit here and hem and haw. Okay, here it is. It's here. Okay, so Georgia, Mississippi State, and we have 60% of tickets, 77% of the cash on Georgia. I'll pull the total information from another book, from another spot. The Superbook in South Point are still at 57, so they've moved it a half point down. They opened it at 57.5. Circa, on the other hand, they are sitting here with the 57.5, and they opened it at 56.5. So they've only been climbing, but they haven't given us information. A very interesting part of this, though, is that this was 83% of the tickets and 94% of the cash on Georgia at Circa. Then the next time they released numbers, that was back on Monday. The next time they released numbers was yesterday, and it's 50% of the tickets and 53% of the cash on Georgia, and they kept pushing it. They moved it to 8.5 too. So interesting market analysis here. Take it away for us, Nick. Our first game on the SEC schedule, Georgia, Mississippi State.
Yeah, man, looking at this Georgia Mississippi State game, man, it is an early kickoff, 11 o'clock. I wonder how that affects Georgia, especially with Georgia not being a very good first half team. Does Mississippi State jump on them on top early and make Georgia come back in this game? Because we do know Kirby Smart does make really good second half adjustments to the games, and he kind of stifles teams after that. Looking at this game, Mississippi State has a number 9 offense against a number 3 defense against Georgia, but I think that number 3 is kind of, to me, is a little bit misleading, a little bit in my personal opinion. But looking at this game, I'm back in Mississippi State again. I'm back in Mississippi State plus the points, and I'm taking the over in this game as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense here. Ron Crawford agreeing with that over for sure. Let's hear what Daby Cab has to say while I line shop for Nick.
So I know we only do just like a unit here, and that's cool. I'm just telling everybody, and I very rarely tell anybody. I don't always bet the same, but I don't post like 2 unit, 3. I just don't. I just post the bet, and I report everything as 1 unit. I put 2 units beside this one just because I felt like telling everybody, like, hey, I really like it, right? And I do have what you could consider 2 units for me. I bet this twice at $2. Okay, I love this prop. Now, Bowens is not going to be running back 1 for the Bulldogs here. But if you look at like the numbers and everything, he's quickly kind of becoming that guy. He's been getting, more and more carries, and his efficiency has been off the charts. And when I look, his number's set at 43.5, and it still hasn't moved. This is one that hasn't moved for you guys. Over 43.5 rushing yards. He's got that, 5 times this year, and the 3 times that he didn't get it, one of them was against Auburn where he hurt his ankle and he only ran the ball 4 times. So we're going to scratch that, right? He wasn't in the game. And the other 2 times was against Tennessee and Marshall. And Marshall, he only carried the ball 6 times because, as I just said, he has been developing. He's been their number 1 step-up back for the Bulldogs, and he's getting the ball more and more. Had he carried the ball more times against Marshall, he would have got it there too. I think the numbers, insanely low. I look at it and I think Bowens, I think he's going to have 60, 70, maybe more, but 60 or 70 yards in this game. And you're offering me a 43.5. I had to slam it, Jimmy. As far as the side goes, I say this week in and week out, Georgia doesn't cover spreads. I don't know what are y'all. We probably can look at the exact number, but Kirby Smart doesn't try and cover the spread. He tries to win the football game. He does a damn good job of that. He wins games. We saw what happened against Florida last week. Sorry if I'm bringing up an open wound to you guys, but they did exactly what they needed to end the football game, and they ended the football game when they could have covered, right? Took the knee at the 1-yard line. That's what Georgia does. They are not Lane Kiffin. They are Kirby Smart, and Kirby Smart wins games. He doesn't care about covering them. So I personally am not a fan of getting behind Georgia. And what Nick said is 100% true. First half, Georgia seems to be sleepwalking the last 2 years. It's been 2 years that they've been doing it, where the first half, it's like they wait until the middle of the third, maybe even the fourth quarter to say, okay, let's go win the fucking football game now. All that being said, I love my Bowens prop. So that's where I'm at.
And then looking at that Florida game as well, man, that I'm gonna say it, that was a catch by Studevate. That if that was ruled a catch on the field, Florida probably wins that game, but it wasn't. So Yeah, shout out to Georgia, always getting the breaks every chance. Like I have never seen a team that gets 9.675% of every break that comes in the game. But hey, it's Georgia, man. It's Georgia.
Well, we have the corner of Nick Frazier in Wine Time Boulevard on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. But Nick got himself a plus 9.5 at minus 108, which is better than the 8.
Hey,
yeah.
This would be a whole conversation. I'm sorry for interrupting. That is absolutely not true, Steve. Now, they're not looking at the spread and trying to beat it, but you get style points in college football. And I fucking promise you, Lane Kiffin knows what the spread of the game is every single time he steps on the field. I promise you that.
Yeah, it's true. My uncle won the Heisman the year before OJ, Gary Beeben, and Gary said every single game they ever played, they knew the spread. And that was back 40, 50 years ago. 50 years ago? Jesus. 50,
that's wild.
55 years ago? Jesus Christ. But they knew the spread for every single game. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows the spread in that room. It's not like they're not talking about it, but whether or not they care about covering is a different story. Mississippi State plus 9.5 for Nick over 57 minus 108. Cab on Chauncey Bowens over 43.5 rush yards at minus 110. We roll on 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Oh shit! Let me get this rocking here. We roll on 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the Texas A&M Aggies. Speaking of starring in college football, the team that Daby's dad starred for. 8-0, 5-0 in the SEC. At the number 22 ranked Missouri Tigers, 6-2, 2-2 in the SEC. Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. We have 60 Fahrenheit chance of showers with 9-mile-per-hour winds. Drinkwitz says nothing to fear. Nothing to fear is what he's telling his players here. We have Texas A&M just running roughshod over everybody they face. Back-to-back road spots, tricky ones. They take care of business now. It was close against Arkansas, but they smash and grab LSU 49-25. On the other hand, Missouri coming off the 17-10 loss at Vandy. They've now lost 2 of their last 3 football games, still sitting 6-2, but they're back home. We last saw them back home back on the 11th of October. So this is the 3rd straight road game for the Aggies. Now they last played on the 25th, so they've got some time off. Ron Crawford says fade undefeated road favorites in November. 1-18 against the spread. Fade Texas A&M and Indiana. Robert Franklin also on Mizzou here. Let's get into the line history here for this spot and hand it over to our guys. We have A&M -7 at minus 102. Opened up -6, got up to 6.5, down to 6, back 6.5, and they've been sitting at a 7 for a while. Now this is juiced towards Missouri. Missouri at minus 118. Excuse me. Let's get into the total here for this one. From a total standpoint, we have the 47.5. Opened up at 50, so we've dropped to 47.5. That's a pretty big move, especially considering the initial move was to the over, moved up to 50.5. So 2.5 point move from the original line, or a 3 point move from the high water mark. And then cash flow here for this one. See if I can get it quickly. Here we have 70% of the tickets on A&M, but 54% of the cash. 63% of tickets on the under, 79% of cash on the under, clearly moving towards the under. Circa has 70% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on A&M, and they've moved it a full point from their opening line. They're holding steady at 48, by the way. So take it away, Nick. We have actually we'll switch. Why don't we switch over to Daby? He knows these Aggies so well, and we'll go back and forth here. So what do you think about Ron Crawford's angle there, Daby? Cab, take it away.
Well, I mean, I'm on the other side. So listen, I see in the chat too, shout out to my dude, Chef Tony, man. He said A&M spill from Daby. I get it. I don't know if I like hearing from people that are quote unquote fans either, but I can tell you every year in and year out, when this team got fucking ranked in the top 15 when there was no reason for them to be there. I knew better. I knew to fade them. I knew to bet against them. This year, I have done nothing but profit off of this team. And I've been backing them, saying that this is, year two, there has been a complete and total culture shift from this team. That's why they're going on the road and winning football games. And right now, this Missouri team's about to get an extremely pissed off defense. Because if you saw what the committee said, and I know for a fact that Elko and I know these coaches are going to use this to motivate them. They said A&M's biggest weakness was their defense, and they kind of took a few shots at A&M's defense. I would be fucking scared if I was a freshman looking at Cassius Howell on the other side of the line this weekend. Cassius Howell is absolutely the best defensive end in the country. Don't give a fuck what you say. You can put other people up there in front of him. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And he does it on the field. It's not just one of those numbers things. He is unblockable. He gets held on 50% of the plays. They're just not going to call it. I'm telling you right now, this freshman is going to be running for his life. I like A&M here. I got the -6. I gave it out on Monday. I told you guys that I would endorse it up to a 7. I think that it closes at a 7.5 or an 8. I don't want a 7.5 or 8, but a -6 or a -7, I'm all there. I also have Casey Concepcion's receiving prop over 50.5 yards. I won't go in depth on it as to why. I'm just going to let you guys know that he's hit that prop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times this year, and he's only missed it twice. So
that's over 50.5 at -110, and the A&M -6 at -110 for Daby Cab. The Magic Man, let's hear from Nick. What do you think? We have the trend from Ron Crawford saying that it's November. This is where the undefeateds go to lose. And then you have Daby saying, I don't care. It's fade undefeated road favorites in November, 1-18 against the spread. Nick, take it away.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm taking I'm gonna go get my prop and I explain why. I'm taking Missouri plus the points in this game, man. When I look at this game and I look at what it could potentially look like, I think of Texas A&M and Arkansas. When you look at Missouri's offense, number 4 offense in the country. In the conference, in the SEC conference. You look at a team that is able to run the ball very well with Ahmad Hardy. You see it, you have an offensive line that's pretty decent that can zone block very, very well. The only problem, the only worry that I have for this offense of Missouri is the vertical passing game when Kevin Coleman Jr. is not in the game. Matt Zollers is going to be starting, but when you saw him come into the game after Bo Pribula got hurt, he was actually throwing the ball pretty well on the road. Now you can say that Vanderbilt was not, prepared for him to come in and play, but he still came out of the game and he performed. When you look at Missouri's defense, you got two. I think you have two of the best defensive ends in the conference, in Zion Young and Damon Wilson on the defensive side for Missouri. And I look at this and I think they're going to get some pressure and they're going to be able to contain Ruben Owens, Le'Veon Moss, and Marcel Reed in this. He's not playing? He's not playing?
He's still hurt.
He's still hurt? Okay, all right. I appreciate that. So Ruben Owens and Marcel Reed, I think they'll be able to contain him. I think Missouri has a really decent front seven on the defensive side of the ball. And then when you get to the back end for Missouri, I think they have the number 1 passing offense in the conference. I think they're only allowing 155, 160 yards passing per game in the conference. I look at this team. I think both teams will probably be able to score, but how do they do it? You will see Mario Craven and Casey Concepcion. You will see them get their yards. But if Kevin Coleman Jr. can get open downfield and Zollis can find him, I think this game is there. And with the threat of Ahmad Hardy running the football as well and getting the ball running on the ground, especially with the chances of the weather being that way, I look at this game and it could be close. I'm not picking Missouri to win, but I will pick Missouri plus the points, and I'm definitely going to pick the over in this game.
And the over. So why do you think this is dropping the way it is?
I don't know. This is weird to me because it's weird because when I look at these teams, I try to find a game that's similar. I try to find a team that's similar to the team that they've already played, and the team that I look at, similar offensively, is Arkansas. I think Arkansas can throw the ball down the field. I think Arkansas runs the ball very well. And what has been Texas A&M's Achilles heel? Not stopping the run. And Arkansas can run the ball very, very well, and Missouri does that very, very well. as well. So I think you get a heavy dose of Ahmad Hardy in this game. Could they potentially slow the game down and it drop, and that's the reason why you probably see the drops, the drop possibly. But man, I look at this and I think this game goes over. I think it looks just like that Arkansas Texas A&M game, and Texas A&M on the road, and Missouri is trying to win 9-10 games again this season. So I'm rocking with Missouri plus the points.
If A&M wins, this is they're in the college playoffs. They got to win this one, South Carolina or Texas. If they win one of those 3 games, and then we're just assuming they're winning the bye week. That it's not a bye week, but I forgot who it is, like Sam Houston or some. It's not Sam Houston, Samford. That's who it is. Somebody ridiculous. Look, this A&M offensive line, to counter what you said about Missouri's defense, they're rating it the 3rd best offensive line in college football. You know, that's not as easy as deciding who's the best running back or quarterback. I think that's a little tougher. All 6 of the starters were there last year, all played over 300 snaps last year. They're all back. They're still healthy. This A&M offensive line does not get the credit it deserves. Now, Marcel Reed, Ruben Owens, Amari Daniels, KC Concepcion, Mario Craver, yes, they've got outstanding offensive weapons, but this offensive line fucking moves people. That's all I'm going to say.
The over, I imagine you're going to get a better line than this, but the over 47.5, I get at -105. I can go into BOL and see the alt lines. I'm looking at a book here with an alt line over 47 flat at -122. At this point, what would you prefer? Do you want that push and play with the 47, Nick, or are you fine with the 47.5?
Yeah, I'm fine with the 47.5. 47.5 tells me that's a 28-21 game, 28-24 game. And I think both teams can put up 27 points in this game. I think you see that. So I'm fine with the 47.5.
You are in business. We have Daby on A&M -6 at -110 tweeted out and talked about on Medicate Monday. We have KC Concepcion over 59 receiving yards, -110 for Daby Cap. Nick, on the other hand, is on Missouri +7 at -108 and the over 47.5 -105. And thank you for sharing that, Brant. Copied and pasted it, and we'll discuss it on our live stream tonight, my man. Let's roll on to Nashville, Tennessee. 70 Fahrenheit, sunny, 3-mile-per-hour winds. Auburn Tigers at the number 16th ranked Vanderbilt Commodores.
Ooh, wrong way.
I would have had a 5-0 day had I got in on Texas early, like you guys. Instead, 4-0 because I pushed for Texas. And if I had have struggled on Saturday, I was shutting it down. I was shutting it all down.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I had made the decision if I was going to shut just college football. Everything else would have been still being fired away. But I just was on a bad run. I was like, this is it. I put my chips in the middle, and so we got it. But I screwed up.
College football and basketball are what I live for, Jimmy.
I feel you. But also we need to live and provide, as well. And that was getting in the way of that shit. But Vanderbilt came back. Shout out to the Cappers who did get in live on Vanderbilt. I didn't get the 17.5 that our guy Spooner got, but we knew they were coming back. I just didn't want them to come all the way back to 34-31. So Vanderbilt coming off that loss to Texas. Auburn coming off the unders in this game. I talked about it with you guys. I talked about it with also with Ron Crawford. Thank God, first half under, full game under. That was 2 of the wins in Auburn, Kentucky. That was a ugly football game. It was. But I like ugly football games. They combined to put up as much yards as most teams do. Alone, the 481 yards in that game, 4 turnovers, 33 first downs. It was pretty ugly football. Auburn 11.5 point favorites, open up at 10.5, go to 11.5, and lose 10-3. So that's the situation. Let's take a look at the line history. This is Nick Frazier's Auburn Tigers that need a win for morale badly. Yes, we have a total at 45. This opened up at 46. It's dropped down to 45. Do we just keep hammering Auburn unders? Because we have the same situation happening with Wisconsin. It's the only thing I've done right is bet Wisconsin unders. Here, it's a pretty high number. It's like they're just begging us to hammer it again, and I'm nervous, and I haven't bet it yet there. Do we just bet unders in all Auburn games as well? The spread, Vanderbilt -6.5. They opened up at -7. This moved to 6.5 on Monday, and it's just been sitting there. And then when we get to the cash flow here for Auburn and Vandy, we have 72% of the tickets, 84% of the cash on Vanderbilt, and a 0.5 point move towards Auburn. We have no information on the cash flow, so why don't we just take a look at a different book here that might give us that information. So at a different book, we have 54% of tickets, 62% of the cash on Vandy. Again, that's a 0.5 point move towards Auburn. Is very suspicious. And 83% of the tickets and 78% of cash on the over. Yet it's dropped a point. Nick, Frazier, what do the Auburn Tigers do this week? Take it away.
Yeah, man. Auburn is in this is an interesting game, because if you look at this game last year, this was a 7-7 game, 7-0, 7-7 game up until like the fourth quarter. And then Vanderbilt scored like 10 points in the fourth quarter. And that game was under last year as well. You know, you had Pavia back, you had Junior Sherrill that was there, Eli Stowers. A lot of the same guys that was on the defensive ball for Vanderbilt last year. This year, it's the same, pretty much kind of the same offensive line interior wise. Of course, Auburn has other guys on the outsides as well. You have some pieces that Auburn got in the transfer portal on defense. Shout out to Xavier Atkins, probably the best portal pickup that Auburn got in the transfer portal in the last cycle. But you're looking at like I'm picking Auburn plus the points in this game for one simple reason and one simple reason only. I like what I'm hearing from DJ Durkin, interim head coach. It seems as if this team is playing what they've been practicing as a team, for one, and they have been there seems to be some inspiration there as well. Everybody is saying the exact same thing. Like, everybody's talking about being the aggressor, not being passive. Everybody's talking about this is our team. DJ Durkin potentially could be is in an audition potentially for the head coaching job at Auburn. I'm not gonna mention the last guy's name, but we all know who it was. But I look at this team and I got Auburn plus the points. I'm not saying Auburn will walk into Nashville and get a win, because Vanderbilt is still a very balanced team. But Auburn's defense has cut in half every team's productions this year. And I look at this and I say Auburn is a really, really good defense. And I don't see that stopping. I don't see that stopping at all. So I look at this. I'm taking Auburn plus the points, and I'm definitely taking the under in this game as well.
Wow, very interesting stuff. Before we hear from Daby, again, a different site and a good site for public betting, sent to me by Ron. 87% of the tickets and 78% of cash on Vanderbilt, and this line just sitting there. And then what's so exciting too, 75% of the tickets on the over, 52% of the cash. Sounds like I get nervous saying it, but this is wheelhouse type shit here. Auburn and the under. But let's hear if Daby Cab agrees. Daby Cab, take it away. The Commodores hosting the Auburn Tigers.
I'm just going to spit it out, and then I'll talk about why I think Auburn's going to win this football game.
Man, oh man, don't jinx us.
Look, I've watched both of these teams quite a bit this year. Jeremiah Cobb has been one of my favorite player props to bet. He set at 79.5, which is the highest that I've seen him, and I still almost want to bet it. And then Vanderbilt, man, I said it last week. I hate Texas. I'm a fan of Vanderbilt because I've been cashing on them. I got the 2.5 on Texas, and I still cashed it even though I don't like Vanderbilt. You know, it's almost like they kept the fairy tale alive last week just by having that second half comeback. But if you paid attention throughout the last 2 years, Sarkisian is a terrible second half coach. I've said it over and over again. I don't know what happens. He finds a way to lose football games or make them close when they're up by, 20 points year in and year out. This football game right here, under, obviously. I mean, I could see it being 17-10 or shit. This might finish even low. This could be a 13-10, 14-17 game. I see this game going under, and I think Auburn is absolutely alive on the spread, and I think they might win this football game.
Have you, Dutchie saying betting against Diego ain't it? Have you moved
I mean, it was for me last week. Oh, and it was when I took Alabama first half. That being said, I have also bet Vanderbilt twice this year and cashed both those. So I'm only 4-0 when I've bet Vanderbilt one way or the other. But
I love the confidence, my man. Have you bet Auburn yet? Or are you
I
waiting?
haven't, Jimmy. So that's why it's almost like, wait, do I love the? Yeah, I have not yet. I need to. I will let you know when I do. I'm still going to try and probably find a way to bet Cobb too. I have prop builders available, and shout out to Nutflush Allen. He hit me up and was telling me what he's been doing about lowering props, and I might do that with Jeremiah Cobb and find a way to tie it in with the spread.
Yeah,
this Auburn defense is legit, and Vanderbilt has shown that they can struggle against a good defense. Right, as much as I like Diego Pavia, and I think he's a winner. He put up 300 something yards passing last week against Texas. Before that, he didn't have over 200 yards passing against a single SEC team. And I don't think Auburn's the team where he's going to flourish like he did last week.
Wow. I find it all extremely appealing at this point. Them not moving the line, the under dropping with, bets on the over. Thinking
Auburn's got nothing to lose right here, but they still are playing. They're still playing. Vanderbilt has everything to lose. The fairy tale is over if they lose this football game.
Well, I know I just said very true, but I'll push it back. I think Auburn still has a chance to make a bowl game. These last 3 games of the season, if you can win 2, you're giving Auburn Mercer. Now, I'm not sitting here saying Auburn will win it because New Mexico State is all I'm going to say. But Mercer FCS national champions last year. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying you have an opportunity. So you basically saying Auburn should win that game if it's just off talent alone. If you can get one of these games between Vanderbilt and Alabama at the end of the season, and I think that Alabama is probably a more winnable game for Auburn than this Vanderbilt game because Alabama does not run the football well at all. But you're looking at this, and of course, Auburn has to go on the road in this game, but Alabama has to come to Jordan-Hare Stadium. And every time the Iron Bowl is at Jordan-Hare Stadium, there is something that happens, and it's just crazy. So I normally don't pick that game. But Auburn has a chance to win 2 games at the end of this season and go and make a bowl after a season that has been drastically bad on the offensive side of the ball. And if Auburn can do that, I mean, DJ Durkin is in the driver's seat to be the next head coach at Auburn, and potentially if you can get a very, very high class offensive coordinator, Auburn could be sitting 9 wins next year easily if that can happen. So, I mean, I think this team is looking at it saying, man, we can potentially we can win 2 of these last 3. We going bowling, and with a chance to win 7.
Yeah, and
Coleman's going to look good in maroon though.
That's not going to happen. It's not gonna happen. It's like if Damian Craig ain't there, he ain't coming.
Auburn plus 6.5 minus 108 for Nick Frazier, and the under 45.5 also at minus 108. These lines are available as we speak offshore. We roll on. Tuscaloosa, Alabama, calling our name for our next spot. Let me get this here rocking. LSU Tigers 5-3, 2-3 in the SEC. At Bama, 66 Fahrenheit clear, 1 mile per hour winds. It is very beautiful. Both teams coming off there by the Bama train kept going. It was not pretty, their 29-22 victory at South Carolina, but they got the job done. They come on home. Last time we saw them here, they beat up on Tennessee 37-20. LSU coming off getting annihilated by Texas A&M 49-25. In Death Valley, the low point here for the LSU Tigers. And changes were made. Let's take a look at the line history and see what our squad wants to do with this one. We have a total at 49.5. It's slightly juiced to the under. This opened up at 50 at a pick 'em. We've dropped a half point. Let's take a look at the point spread here as well. From a spread perspective, we have this sitting right now at minus 10 for Bama. Now, we were given a look ahead. This was given to us August 23rd. Now, they thought, LSU would be a different type of football game. Nick Frazier, let me take a guess. So we're sitting here with opening up at 11, now at 10. They gave us the lines for these marquee matchups BOL did back in August. What do you think the line was for this before any games had been played by these two teams?
Before any games were played by the two teams, probably a pick 'em.
No, it was still Bama favored at home, but 6.5. And the surprising thing is it's only moved 3.5 points.
Why didn't you ask me, Jimmy? I swear to God, I was going to say 6.5.
6.5? That's still
I
seems
hate
kinda
that you
high.
didn't ask me that.
It still
I'm
seems
sorry.
kinda high.
I'm sorry. I should have asked you. No, that was my bad. I'm surprised that it's only moved 3.5 points, with Bama looking like a juggernaut and LSU in shambles. It's only 3.5 points different from what they saw pre-season. So there is the line and the total. And my fault, Daby. I should have. You've been crushing those two. I don't know. We have here cash flow 65% of tickets, 69% of cash on Bama. FanDuel hanging a 9.5. That's the lone 9.5 that I see. And when we go over to action, which again we don't trust that much, we have 71% tickets, 71% cash on the under, 71 and 71 on the under. And I thought that we looked at that total, but I want to see that total one more time here. If we look back to this, we have 49.5 here. So Daby Cab, your turn to fire away. Kong says, I think they knew LSU was going to be terrible. What's your thoughts here, Daby? Take it away.
I like, trying to figure out the mindset of a team when they're in a situation like LSU or Auburn, right? And I agree with what we all said on Auburn, obviously, since that's why I said I liked them. I think that they still find a way to come out and play. The defense has found a way to play all year, even when it's been tough. So I think there's heart on that team. LSU, after getting bitch slapped by A&M at home, going on the road against Auburn, man, no. There's no way that I would bet LSU. And maybe that's a reason for, a quote unquote sharp person to come in and say, maybe I want to take LSU because the line seems off. If I put money on this game, it's going to be Alabama first half. I'm going to take Alabama under a touchdown and a half of football against a broken LSU team. I think Alabama beats the brakes off LSU here. Genuinely, I do. I mean, that's about all I'll say on this one. I think Alabama has their way with LSU.
Wow. Nick, do you agree?
It's okay to say no.
Okay, all right. So what can I say about LSU that has okay, looking at this LSU team, I go back, the game I go back to that kind of defines LSU for me, that tells me that what this team is. I look at Clemson. They only allowed 10 points to Clemson. I look at Florida.
Clemson's awful.
Yeah, they are though. I look at Florida throwing 5 interceptions against them in the swamp, but Florida only putting up 10 points. And then LSU's offense only putting up 20 points in that game. So I see where you're coming from, but I think LSU's defense is pretty solid as well. Okay, in the past couple of seasons, Alabama has come in and they have beaten LSU by multiple touchdowns, because the gripe against LSU has been, where is their defense? Where is the defense? That's been the question. They were able to score the past 2 seasons, but they weren't able to stop anything. It just flipped this season. It literally has flipped the season. They can stop everything, but they're not scoring enough points. So I look at this and I say, do I go with what history is telling me to go with, or do I go with LSU and take those 10 inside of Brian Denny? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think defense travels. I really do. And I think LSU's defense will play well. So I'll probably be the only one that does it. I'm taking LSU plus the points in this game.
Well, you are not alone. Also, 27% of the tickets from Ron Crawford's site, 27% of tickets, 50% of cash on LSU, 75 and 78 on the over. And our very own Ron Crawford is on LSU plus the points. Now he's going heads up with Justin McKelvey, who is on Bama here. Let's line shop for you, Nick. It took some time for you to build the conviction to back LSU. I was watching it slowly happen. And you got there. So let's find this plus 10 available right now, minus 108. And Daby, is Alabama first half going to be official for you at this point? Are you still working on your Saturday card?
I'm still working on Saturday, and sorry about that. But like you guys know, you can come in the tailgate, and I'll let you know one way or the other.
Oh yeah, no, this is the beauty of football. You can let things marinate, and then it's all about conviction. Do you want to pull the trigger? And the trigger has been pulled here by Nick Frazier of Water Cooler Talk Sports. Let's get into our final college football game of the show before we get into Clippers Suns, which of course James Harden and Kawhi Leonard have already been ruled out, and they sure make basketball fun. Let's get into the situation here. Gators, the Wildcats hosting the Florida Gators here. Sorry, I didn't have this one set up. Let's get into the line history. Now, we know what went down with Kentucky the last time we saw them. It was a 10-3 game against Auburn, which, although I needed badly, was... I love these horrific football games. Like, what am I've always have. I always will. I'm an under-better generally, and I needed it very, very badly. So it snapped a big losing streak, and now they come home. Last time we saw them here, Tennessee took them to the woodshed, and we were on Kentucky, 56-34. Before that, Kentucky and Texas went to overtime, and Kentucky was unlucky in that one, losing 16-13. Florida coming off the loss 24-20, which could have been worse, but to Georgia. They played 2 back-to-back home games. Last time we saw them on the road was when they lost 34-17 at Texas A&M. Before that, we saw them on the road at Miami, losing 26-7. So their last 2 road games, they've been outscored 60-24. The question is, do we trust them here? Line history-wise, we have Florida -3. Just been sitting there. Opened up -3, -115. It is -3 at -115. Just sitting there and doing nothing. From a total side of things here, we have this sitting right now at 44.5. This opened up at 46. It got down to 43.5 before climbing back up. This last half-point move to the over happened an hour and 40 minutes ago. So it's at 44.5. We've dropped a 1.5 of a total. And then when we get to the cash flow here for this Kentucky spot, let me just see if I can grab it here, and please show me. Here we go. 60% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the Kentucky Wildcats. That is nuts. So nuts that let's look at a different spot. This one has 84% of tickets, 87% of cash on the over, and on the spread, 74% of tickets, 62% of cash on Kentucky. Interesting. So this is sitting here at 3 with Kentucky getting hammered. Let's just take a quick look at what Circa has done with this. I think that will be telling, because FanDuel has moved to 3.5. They're not giving us any numbers, but they've moved it from 3.5 to 3. Our final spot on the board. Get us started here. Daby Cab, Florida Gators, Kentucky Wildcats.
Man, I've been going back and forth if I wanted to say this or not, but I have to because it's fucking funny. Okay, I'm sitting here looking at this one, and I'm like, man, look, if you bet this game, I'm thinking like you're not trying to make money, you're sick, you got a disease, you got a problem, and then right as I'm thinking that, Jimmy's like, but what? Like, you were so interested into the breakdown, you were so intense in it, and I was like, oh shit. I can't, Jimmy. I can't bet this one. If you gave me a free bet that had to be on this game, I'd take Kentucky at home. I don't trust Florida at all. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say on this game. I'm sorry.
You don't have to be. These are, you want to follow and hammer the ones where you have the script. Let's see from Nick. Nick, we're in Lexington, Kentucky. 57 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 5-mile-per-hour winds. It looks beautiful here. Ron Crawford sending me his site, and it tells a different story, which is important to look at all these sites. This one has 26% of the tickets and 44% of the cash on Kentucky. Florida being the public side. and 64% of tickets and 81% of cash on the over, which is what he wants. He wants to be involved in this over. Take it away for us, Nick. Gators, Wildcats.
Yeah, you look at this as a night game again at Kroger Field in Kentucky, and you tell yourself that atmosphere should be able to aid Kentucky and making this game, and you potentially say this looks like the Texas game that when Texas was at Kentucky. This is what it looks like. But then I look at Florida's offense last week, and I see the offense, and I say, man, they looked a little coherent. You saw DJ Latway look like he was playing a little bit more looser with Ryan O'Hare calling plays for him. In that vein. And then Florida's defense is really good. But then I look at Kentucky and I say Kentucky has a very balanced offense, a very balanced receiving core. There's no star in that receiving core, and they have two tight ends that or the two leading receivers, the second and third leading receivers in that receiving core. But then I look at Kentucky's defense and I just be like, it's not good. But Auburn made them look all world last week. It's a jab at Auburn, by the way. I'm gonna stay away from this game. I'm just like that. I'm gonna stay away from this game because I can see if I were, I'm gonna take your words, Cap. If you gave me a free bet, I would probably take Florida minus the 3 in this game. Probably that's probably where I would lean, but I'm not confident in that. I'm not confident enough to say that's gonna happen. So I'm gonna stay away from this one as well.
Ronnie Lofton says, I feel this is the spot the Gators show up, but he has not got there yet either. That is SEC breakdowns with Nick Frazier and Daby Cab. Let's do a review of official action here. Now, Daby Cab has given us Byron Brown over 70.5 rush yards. That's gone up 10 yards since he bet it and posted it. You must follow him on X. I'll pop his X handle here in the chat, as I will with Nick's as well. We have Nick Frazier on Mississippi State plus 9.5 and the over 57. In that game, Cab's on Chauncey Bowens over 43.5 rushing. Cab is on Texas A&M -6 at -110 and KC Concepcion over 59 receiving yards -110, while Nick's on the other side, Missouri +7 and the over 47.5. Nick's on Auburn +6.5 and the under 45.5. Two bets that I'm actually at 3 because I'll take the first half under as well. I want to get involved in. Nick is also on LSU +10 at -108 at Bama, and then they left the Gators Wildcats game alone. Fellas, thank you so much for rocking with us. I love hearing you guys hammer the SEC and do such a great job doing it. First off, Nick, thank you, star of the Water Cooler Talk Sports Show on YouTube. And the Coolest Pod 23 is the X handle for the Water Cooler Talk Sports Show. I'm going to put both in the chat here. So I'm going to pop this is Coolest Pod 23 is the X handle for the Water Cooler Talk Sports Show. So I'm going to put that in the chat first. And then I'm going to put in our guy Nick Frazier's X handle as well. Here at Nick Frazier 11. Please support our guy Nick, man. He's been so great capping with them. We are very thankful to have his info and angles. Also, here is the...
Just interrupt him if you guys say something, Nick. You're good.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Could you give me my overall total? I don't know what my overall total is.
I have not, just because I don't have my producer here, so I wasn't going to be able to put up the records. I didn't do the records last night, which I always do here, but I'll have that. I can send that to you here. So I'm not up to date with this week's records just because I didn't have my producer here. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to not do the very hard work here. It takes.
Hey, I got a bunch of shit for it. For the tailgate, somebody was giving me shit saying, "Oh, you don't." I'm like, I'm not Jimmy. I'm not keeping all these motherfuckers' records. Like, he's absolutely insane for doing that.
Yeah,
I'll keep mine, and I'll let you guys know what mine is. If you want to know somebody else's, you can keep the record.
And here is the link to the YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber. Daby's a subscriber. Please hit that link to Nick Frazier's YouTube channel and subscribe. Nick, you're the man. Thank you for rocking with us, man. Tell us about what's going on this week over on the Water Cooler Talk Sports Show.
Yeah, we just did a show last night. As you all know, Auburn is in a coaching search, and we just did a show last night to where we ranked coaches based on how cold, warm, and hot we are on them potentially being Auburn's next coach. Some of them are kind of out there. Some of them are kind of in the realm of who potentially could be the guy. And some of the guys are just some people that we think about that potentially could be there. So if you don't mind, go take a look at that. And tell us what you think about it. But yeah, man, Water Cooler Talk Sports, man. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. We talk Auburn football, SEC football, college football around the cooler, man. And we appreciate y'all so much for allowing us to come over here and talk ball with y'all as well. And then, of course, on Saturdays, we do the locker room where we live stream all Auburn games. I won't be on there this weekend. My co-host and everybody will be on there this weekend, but still chime in over there with those guys. And just have a good time. We just like to have a good time, whether it's an Auburn win, Auburn loss, or if it's a tie, who knows? But we just like to have a good time talking ball, man. So we appreciate y'all so much for giving us the opportunity to come over here and talk with y'all. Shout out to Cab, man, because Cab found me. Shout out to Cab. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Jimmy. Shout out to Wine Time. What's up, my guy? How you feeling, my guy? How you feeling? Hope everything's good.
I love it. There's our guy, Nick Frazier, in the house. Thank you for rocking with us, Nick, my man. Daby, Cab, thank you for all that you do for us. I know it is time for pitching lessons. We've got draft picks that need to be.
Hey, Jimmy, I think I've told you in some of the other ones, I'm not going to name drop, but I got a kid that I've been working with. He might be the first pick in next draft. Like he might he will 100% go in the first round. There's no question about that. He might be number one.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting, man. It's fun. It's very, very fun. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you, Kristen. There's Daby Cab's X handle. Please hit that link. Again, if you did, then you would have beaten this line move on Byram Brown by 10 yards. Daby, thank you for rocking with us, my man. Crush it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with the tailgate on Saturday.
Oh, man, we're week 11 now, so hopefully you've been there with us because it's just been getting hotter and hotter. The cappers are getting better as the season goes, which is what you want to see. So shout out to Guns, Wine Time, Moose Money Bets, Con Clips, Stacks is always with us, Gorky, man. Shout out to all the guys. Everybody's getting better. It's Best Bets. We bring you guys our action and just let you know what we're betting on. So if you like that, come rock with us. But Jimmy, I'll be back here. Love you guys. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for supporting, man. It means the world. We don't have anything without you guys. So thank you, Kristen, Charlie. I would say Guido. I don't know what kind of bot that is. That was a weird person. Matty Ice, our guy, everybody out there. Thank you, JM. We love all you guys, man. Much love.
Respect, Daby Cab. Man, we do's my guy, man. We do. Respect. Everybody in this chat, thank you for all of the support. By the way, Ronnie Lofton just subscribed to the YouTube channel Water Cooler Talk Sports. I wanted to put on the background of the thumbnail for the tailgate, but we have so many graphics that we had to only keep a few. So which ones did we keep? Well, we kept her. We didn't keep the tailgate, but we kept her. We kept them, made sure to keep them, of course, because we could only pick a few to keep. And so we could only pick, our very most important images, which is what you're seeing right now. Just the images that we must have, that we can't lose here. And these are those images that we deemed, Victor and Jose deemed, the most important images of our channel. And these are those. These are the images that will never go away, despite all of the graphics that are necessary. We will keep these forever. So also, of course, if you hate something, well, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. So let's get to our final spot on the board here. Phoenix Suns, LA Clippers, 5-3 day for me yesterday, plus 1.65 units. It was kind of a roller coaster. The team total unders as the double down worked very well for me. So just a quick review of yesterday in NBA, because I had a lot of action, a ton of action. So Boston Celtics smash and grab. minus 12.5 cashed with these. Shout out to Nasty Nate. He cashed his Celtics second quarter. Minnesota, New York Knicks first half under 112 pushed, and the full game under lost. Dallas first half and full game, I was very confident in, lost both. But look, the double downs on the opposition team total unders cashed and saved the day. Pelicans team total under 109.5, despite losing outright. Dallas the D did step up. Then Denver minus 9 cashed, and the Heat team total under 116.5 cashed. And then the Blazers plus 4.5 cashed as well. So 5 and 3 plus 1.65 units gets us back in the black. Now, this is not 35 and 4 Dutch boy fresh range, but it is black. Black is beautiful, baby. We need to be in the black, and we are there. Let's go. 9 p.m. Eastern, the standalone NBA game. And the players were good enough to not participate in tonight's game. James Harden ruled out for personal reasons. Kawhi Leonard ruled out with an ankle injury. We had thought that Kawhi Leonard was going to play. This is the third game in 4 nights, but, and this is also the first of a home and home. We thought Kawhi would be in the lineup, and Kawhi's playing very good. It was the second half of a back-to-back. Harden, by the way, disappeared. He had 25.6 assists, 6 boards. This was the 126-107 loss at home to the Thunder on Tuesday. We thought we thought Kawhi was going to be playing here, and we thought that Harden would bounce back. He only scored 3 points in the second half and fell apart. Let's take a look at the shoot around, even though we know the situation and why this line's moved so heavily towards the Clippers. We got Booker double at plus 205 and the Suns minus 2, which is something that I thought about here, but this was my issue here, and let's go over it. So we know the situation. Harden, Leonard out. Jalen Green is making his season his debut. That was a problem for me. You could say, well, look, Jalen Green isn't the star player. He's a big piece of this puzzle for this Suns team. And also you have the backcourt mate of Booker, who now will be usurped by Jalen Green, and Grayson Allen sick. A late addition to the injury report. So Grayson Allen not playing, Jalen Green in, and then of course Dylan Brooks still out with the groin injury. So there's going to be a 6th straight game that he misses. So here, Steve M says, do you know by any chance what the Detroit Lions double result opened up at? I don't, but I don't. I didn't bet it here. Unfortunately I don't. I could take a look at what the line opened up and then decide where I think it was. I don't. If it was the one I looked at, I think I might have said it on our show. If I'll have to go back, but I think I might have said it was a minus 150 or minus 160. But I have to double check, my man. So here we go. The Clippers playing at the 29th fastest pace in the NBA. Now, no Kawhi, no Harden. How much will that change? I mean, that's a question you have to ask yourself with the script. Now you have Chris Dunn at the 1 and Bradley Beal at the 2. And Bradley Beal, of course, is the talking point, at least. First appearance in Phoenix since he was bought out the final 2 years and $110 million bought out for. So Bradley Beal makes his return, and you could imagine, one would imagine that he's going to put in, some effort here because he's been, he probably, who knows what Bradley, maybe he's just very pleased that he got all this cash and didn't have to play, but he did sign a contract immediately with the Clippers. We have Phoenix minus 3 right now. So this opened up in the afternoon at 5.5. That's when everybody thought Kawhi and Harden would be in. When they found out they weren't in, that was at 9:08 p.m., and that was a 7.5 point move down to a 2. And then it went to 3. It was a 3 at 9:29 p.m. last night. Then this got down to a 1.5, which means that whether or not it's Jalen Green coming back into the lineup, if the Sharps were thinking, well, it's going to mess up the rhythm for the Suns, or the Clippers are going to step up with their star players out of the lineup, which is interesting to me, Justin, because we both fear very much a team missing a star player. Now you're missing 2 star players because we see these teams step up. Yeah, Steve, let me work on that for a second. Like, it would take me a little bit of time, but I'm sure I could figure it out here. So my fear of the Clippers stepping up without their star players created a situation where I didn't want the Suns at -2. And then when I added in Jalen Green playing, well, then I knew I didn't want the Suns. And then I look at this roster for the Clippers: Dunn, Beal, Batum, Derek Jones, and Zubac. Well, I don't want anything to do with them either. So at this point, this is the first of a home and home. These teams play again in LA on Saturday night. Suns playing at 15th fastest pace, 101.98 possessions a game, shooting 46.1 from the field and 37.4 from three. It's too bad. Kawhi has 61 points and 10 steals in his last 2 games. Only Ron Harper and Chris Paul are the only players in franchise history to do that. And, obviously basketball is more fun with him on the court. Mark Williams, by the way, Suns coming off that 2-game winning streak being snapped in that 118-107 loss to the Warriors on Tuesday. Mark Williams went for 16 and 16. That's a monster double-double in 27 minutes. He's been on a minute's limit. He's only played more than that 27 minutes one time. But the question here, or the issue here, or the focus was the Suns are just a different team at Mortgage Matchup Center in Phoenix, Arizona, which is probably why anybody would want to back them here. Shout out to Scott. Great to see you. And Justin saying that was my hesitation with the Suns, but they got ruled out early, just like Steph yesterday. Oh, okay. I feel you. So if the player is announced out, an hour or two before the game, it's different. Then that makes sense. I get that. That makes sense. The Suns are 3-1 at home this year. Their only loss was when Ja hit that game winner with 7.6 remaining. That was on October 29th. They've had double-digit home victories over the Jazz and the Spurs. So I can understand why anybody would want to back them. But I don't want to mess with Bradley Beal, the possibility that he comes back and wants to show out. I also don't want to bet on Bradley Beal to show heart and character. I don't want to fade a team in the Clippers that has a chance to step up without star players, which we see often. And I don't want to back the Suns team working Jalen Green into the lineup with no Brooks and possibly no Grayson Allen. So unfortunately, I'm not doing squat ass zilch. Now, let's take a look at the line history and see if something is becoming so obvious. We talked about the 3 now, so it's now 8.5 points since this line opened up. This total is a 224.5. It was 227, and then when we found out at 9:08 p.m. that no Harden and no Kawhi, it dropped to 223.5. It got up to 225, and it's back at 224.5. And then when we get to the cash flow, I mean, can you imagine a standalone game like this? And the only thing we can be excited about is Bradley Beal going to try against a team that just gave him $110 million to not play for them. When we take a look at the cash flow here, we have 70% of tickets, 71% of cash on Phoenix, 80% of tickets on the under, 57% cash on the over. And Justin says that Jalen will definitely be on a minutes restriction. Robert Francis says, doubt Beal cares. I think that it's embarrassing. That's all. Ronnie Loft. So I would expect him to care. Done over 15.5 points at even 15.5 points and rebounds for Ronnie Lofton. Robert Franklin laddering Collins points to 24. Mally Mal took Gillespie for 4 assists and Booker for 40 points, rebounds, assists at plus 194. And I'm not in. Big Zoe. Oh, hit a wild wreck parlay last night. I'd love to hear it. Nice job, Big Zoe. So I'm not on it. I'm not in it. I want to attack NBA as much as possible. We're coming off a great day. Yesterday, we went 11 and 5 plus 6.15 units, and we were up in every sport. We went 3-0 plus 3 units in college football, 5-3 plus 1.65 units in NBA, 1-0 in college basketball, and 2-2 plus a half unit in NHL. Let's review all action and put a bow on the proceedings. A big thank you to Vic behind the scenes for getting us the graphics for this show to make it easy for everybody watching later and being able to pick to a game. Couldn't have done that without you. Our our guy Vic. So let's review. Stacks play day number 1. Penguins Capitals over 6 at -125. That's the first ever NHL stacks. I love it. And stacks number 2, Broncos Raiders over 43. Pig Milk play of the day. Broncos -9 at -110. Taint play of the day. Robert Morris, Drake under 149.5 for Sweet Taint. 9 Legacy as a dental bill parlay. Bruins, Habs, Penguins, Flyers. That's for the dental bill parlay. Dougie Wise, free bands play today. Broncos first half -5.5 in the National Hockey League. And I've got to get these bets in. I haven't yet. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 and the full game over 6 in Ottawa, Boston. I plan on moving on the Senators and the Blues first period. Bobano's on the over 6 and the draw. Now, the last time I was in this situation, Boston got destroyed. I backed them first period. They went down 2-0 to the Islanders, and they won the game 5-2. Maybe I don't need to focus on 20 minutes. I should focus on 60 minutes if the team's going to fight. But it's just how I've always done it. I've always backed the team after getting embarrassed in the first period. As I said, Bobano on the over 6 and the draw +330. Bobano's on the Habs at +130 and the draw at +330. I have interest in the Habs, but I'm nervous about, what the Devils are coming back from. And they've had time. So I'm nervous about that. We both stayed off of wild hurricanes. I have interest in Pittsburgh. I don't know if I get there. Bobano had no fear going up against this market move in the Flyers Predators game. A market move that is insane, moving towards Nashville. So Philadelphia right now at +110. +110. They opened up at -107. So this is the high watermark. They were just +108 when we were. Oh no, sorry, they were +1. Oh no, they were +110 already. My bad. They were already +110. Still not moving back. Makes me very, very uncomfortable. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today is Vegas. Vipe is on Carolina -1 and Dallas -1. Bobano's on the Ducks at +160. Another line that I thought was pretty insane. And the draw at +360. I never back teams after sweeping a homestand and going out on the road. And that's the situation the Ducks are in. But they've been handling all these tough situations with aplomb. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 in Lightning Golden Knights. I expect to be on the Knights, but even that line is fishy to me. Maybe the idea is that Lightning shouldn't be too big of a dog against any team in the National Hockey League, although we did fade them against Colorado. But they were a pretty big dog against Colorado, and I had to take the -1 line. And, of course, that got me right in the goat hole. Florida first period goal. The first goal in the first period, I should say, for Bobano at +135 here. So DC Cappers top play in college basketball. Mississippi State -24.5. When we get to the CFL, this is the conference finals, the East final. Bobano is on the Alouettes money line in the over 52.5. He'll be live at Hamilton Stadium. And he's on the Lions team total over 24.5. I've moved on the Lions +3.5. I only made 2 future bets in the CFL. We have a chance. Alouettes +550. Lions +360. Hopefully one more win from each. Bobano is on the Broncos team total over 26.5. I'm on the first half over 21 and the full game over 42.5. And Troy Torrance is on the Raiders +10. We have Robert Cherry on the Bruins money line, the Le Habitant money line, Capitals game under 6.5, Capitals Penguins, and the Lightning money line. He's also on the Preds money line and the under 6 here. Then we have Spooner on Illinois State at +105, Drake -6.5, and Southern Alabama -16.5. I moved on North Dakota first half at -110 on the money line. And I'm going to be adding Omaha first half plus the points shortly. I just wanted to not get it at the line and the market had been moving to Abilene Christian, and I was just waiting patiently. Then I have some interest in Georgia Southern. I don't know if I get there. I want to back the Bulls. I want to back South Florida. It just feels a little public. Now, maybe we can explain why they haven't. I guess the issue is why haven't they moved it to 14.5 if so much money is on it? That's it. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm dealing with. Because I'd like to hammer South Florida first half and full game. Of course, the reason why I want to do that was I cashed Toledo so easily yesterday, first half and full game. And then we just talked SEC football with Nick Frazier and Daby Cab. Wine Time and Nick both on Mississippi State. Nick on the over 57. I want to bet those overs. Cabs on Chauncey Bowens over 43.5 rush yards. Cabs on A&M -6, Texas A&M, and KC Concepcion over 59 receiving yards. Knicks on Missouri +7 in the over 47.5. Our guy Brant Hunt said, I've got the potential great play for you in all the low bagger. He said, if the Broncos get up big, pound Harvey over rushing yards live. Nick on Auburn +6.5 in the under 45.5. I want both of those. Daby Cab is very interested in Auburn. We'll see if he pulls the trigger. Nick is on LSU +10. And that concludes our college football action and our show here. Ronnie Lofton, they were just tired. Second half of a back-to-back. The Mammoth, the Coyotes, they were tired. And that's all, I think. It's just a tired group. They're a skilled team. I don't think they're tough enough. If I was running the ship for the Mammoth, I would want to bring in some toughness that they're lacking here. A coin is laddering Denver team total over 26.5 and over 26.5. Thank you guys for rocking with us today. Coin, Ronnie Lofton, Big Zoe, Maddie Ice. Thank you guys. We do. Kong's Clips. Thank you. Justin McKelvey, Robert Franklin, Scott, Kyle Fields, Mally Mal, Steve M, BJ, Spencer Hicks. Thank you guys. The biggest jewel. It was great. Kristen Hess, Charlie Charms. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us, man. We can't do it without you. Thank you to Ian Cameron, who opened the show up, Morgan Spooner, and of course, Nick Frazier and Daby Cab that shut it down. Another show in the books, but it's just 4 hours until our live stream starts. And it's 2 hours and 15 minutes till Ella gets on the basketball court. Rising point guard. I'm very proud of her. So I'm looking forward to watch Ella rock in basketball, 5:45 to 6:45. And I'll be right here in this very seat for our Thursday night football live stream. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you do, not just for the channel, but for what you do for me. You give my life purpose, and I'll never stop being thankful for that. I want to fucking grind and win with you guys, and I want to succeed with you guys, and it ebbs and flows, and there's tough times and there's great times, and tonight, let's make it a great time. All of us at Pub Sports Radio, thank you for your support. Let's get this fucking money. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers, milk that shit. Milk it! Milk it.
From down south, where we ride on flair. From down south, where we ride on flair. From down south, where we ride on flair. From down south, where we ride on flair.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H. I stack green like Boston, shout out to Nasty Nate. From down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Daby Cab. Fly out to Denver for the Nugget fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Crockett. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack. Call up Dutch boy, cause you know we stay fresh. What's the strain of the day, homie? Watch the daily sesh. Roll up a paper plane, light up a sparkly. If I need a strikeout prop, we gon' holler at Sharpie. Cross over to the West Coast and holler at fam. If we talking NBA, I got to hit, try wham. Always tapping in, money's what we trust. If I need a team total, gotta hit nut flush, cause I'm fishing for bait. Smoking straight to the chest. Gotta fly out to the beta, homie, moose money bets. From bookies to west, cash and checks what we do. Cause I'm who banging with balls and the OG Ragu. If we need it under, I gotta hit nose. If I ladder my prop, I gotta holler Big Show. Now we back to the East Coast for Nicky Fish tanks. We watching UFC, keeping money in the bank. Like Harden, Danny Vets, and the whole damn crew. Nick's the only guy I know can drink a brew by his shoe, but hey, that's what he do. It is what it is. I can't forget that Jersey boy, that homie Billy Briz. If I need an ice pick, I go to Ontario, holler my ice guy, Ian Bobano. And if I need some advice in trying to cash, tune into Peter Loshak and Jimmy the Bag. And hit that like button make sure that you smash it. The famous words of razor sharp picks, cash it. I'm on my poker shit, stacking my chips. If we ever lose a bet, man, we never gon' trip. Cause I'm Mike Knight M, pimp slap player of the day. Ron Crawford spreadsheet, what more can you say? It's how we stay paid each and every day. Can't forget about the producer, say hey Jose. Tell your mother, your father, your son, and your daughter, cause nothing's going down without the Don Jeff Slaughter. All you low baggers, hold it down in the chat. If you missed all that, the remix will be back. Yeah.